Yalla, yalla, infidels, let us milk this cow the best way we know how. Project MSG, Chickapow, one culture, return of the track slasher, double dosa. I mean, the broadcaster. And that's right, we're doing it here live at Ben Hamin YouTube channel for now, twitch.tv/Hamin Media. It's time to light the fuse, MSG, the Chris Silvio, and Hacker Hamin. Let's do it. Yeah, back to talk more wrestling. Can't get enough of that wrestling. Loves it, lives it. 24/7. A burden, a love, whatever it's become.
Bird in the bush is worth the bird in the hand.
Yeah, something. Holy shit, Briz. But good to see you, MSG. Hopefully you're having a good day, bud. I know you've been active with a new Force Order podcast and crazy DVOC regulations at work and just trying to be you and be on that soul ride, man. Looking to be the man that you're meant to be, and you're doing a great job while the world tries to turn everybody on its head from not being the best they can be. But here we are, ready to light it up.
Yeah, I was telling my dad yesterday. I was like, "I'll tell you, Dad. Like, if I had my passport 10 years ago, fuck this. I would have just been like, I'm out. I'm going off grid. I'll see you later." But now I've got so much shit going, I can't do that no more. So, I mean, I could. And I am replaceable, but still, you know.
Well, there's duty, but then there comes a time of like, dude, it's everybody's individual trip around the sun. What are you going to do with yours? If you were to bug out and not to be heard from again and go live that, that's what you want to do. No one could fault you for that. But it's a guy we got to check in, make sure, turn your head and cough. The doctor is here to make sure everybody's had their tests and everybody's healthy, wealthy, and wise. But he's bright blue today, and hopefully the AC's back on. He had a live-in sauna. He's going to go up. He's going to feel around inside, make sure there's no bumps, and we're doing good. Oh, he's got his door shirt on today. Classic Silvio is in the house. How you doing, Dr. Sexico?
Fantastic. What is going on, Bumblecocks? Yeah, my AC is back. It's pumping. It's hot as fuck, dude. In the middle of a heat advisory in Hillsborough County, where I live, where Tampa is. It was with the heat index, we were 115. And of course, that's the day my AC decides to crash.
Ooh, it's always that, isn't it?
Bro. So thankfully we'd gotten like Jenna's parents had this portable unit that they use in their garage. So we'd gotten that for our home gym. So thankfully we at least had AC we could put in the bedroom. But the rest of the house was 87 degrees.
Well, fortunately, there's a bunch of them on YouTube now, but Getting Learnt with Ricky, he teaches you how to make it inside AC units. So you can go. That's a good one to watch for survivalists. But I'm glad you guys survived a little sauna, home sauna day or whatever. But hopefully the pets and everybody were able to chill out a little bit. So yeah, it's weird up.
Chihuahua, bro. She loves it. She was a piece. Yeah.
It's 67 here today and raining, bro. Like I've never in my life seen a July that was where, especially when we're playing golf, that's where you can notice it, because usually July, August, everybody's lawn's burnt to a fucking crisp unless you're got the sprinklers out, and all the fairways are all green. There's no big brown patches, nothing. And it's a strange weather, climate change, man, with getting hotter and places like this becoming more not tropical but cooler. It almost feels like autumn breeze in the middle of July, end of July, man. It's very odd,
dude. It's weird. I don't know the climate difference between where you're at and like the more urban parts of New York, but growing up I spent almost every summer with my grandparents in New York in the Queens area. And I remember very vividly, especially July and August being hot as fuck. Those are the months we went to the beach. You know, you had to wear shorts. Like, it's different to the Florida heat, but it's still hot as fuck. So that's crazy to hear 67 in late July.
70 right now. I mean, it's overcast and a rainy day, but it's just like in July. And
still,
usually get those 90-degree days. Like, I remember last year we put the bathroom in upstairs during the hottest week, July 21st to the 28th, and it was a 90 almost every day, bro. We just went through that and never broke 80, and it's been very strange. So, but everyone wants to blame it on this, that, or the other. That's when my atheism kicks in, and I go, everybody thinks they're so fucking important. You're an ant on a rock in space. It could be 1,000 cosmic things that are causing this, from Planet X, whatever, to just the cycle of ice ages. And everybody thinks because of cow farts and some fucking gasoline cars that we've ruined the universe because of our own self-importance, thinking that we are able to do so much damage. Oh man. But I've been watching some Olympics. I watched an Italian fellow get stabbed up by a Korean during fencing yesterday. Oh, shit ton. Yeah, the Italian guy was not happy with his performance. I watched horse trotting. I go, why is this an Olympic sport at all? I mean, I get it probably from the early, even biblical days of being able to control a horse was probably the fucking thing. But now that's an Olympic sport. Kayaking. I like
exactly. Well, hang on, you're flipping subjects here. You just brought up horse trotting. Is that exactly what it sounds like?
Dude, it's these rich girls that are in full outfit on these beautiful, horses, all braided and everything, oiled, sheen perfectly. And then they put on Les Miserables or some fucking clubhouse music, and the horse fucking do like it to show that they can take little steps, turn them sideways, trot around the thing, trot across this, and they just sit up there and do you hear the people singing the thing, da-da-da-da. And that's an Olympic sport, bro.
Do they walk alongside, or do they actually mount the horns?
They're on the horse mounted to get them to move sideways and get the horse to do these things. And the horse is taking tiny little steps. So oh shit, here comes Pump Up the Jam, and the fucking horses. I'm like, how is this a fucking sport, man? At least skateboarding to me seems more of a sport. I mean, but we're talking about thousands of years of tradition and Olympic games. So in Greece, at a time when horses reigned, is the way to get around. It probably was a major thing, but I watch it now. I go, these are rich girls from Westchester and Massachusetts who fucking in Kentucky whose parents are millionaires, and all they do is trot horses around to get them to do that. I'm not to say those girls don't shovel a lot of horse shit, because if you're dealing with that, you live in those stables. That's no joke to take care of a beast that size. But it's like, this is an Olympic sport, bro.
You guys know what the first Olympic sport was, don't you?
Yeah, wrestling.
And they would do it naked.
Yeah, well, it's Greek. It's super gay. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, aside from the sexual part, imagine just that, how uncomfortable it would be, me and you wrestling around with our fucking parts flobbing everywhere.
It's not too dead.
Single legs on each other.
For what you guys wear, I mean, I wear it because I got a shitty body, but I wear boots, battle fatigues, and a shirt. You guys are the ones that come out in underwear and shoes on, which is the weirdest feeling in all of the world, is to walk around in your underwear and boots on. So
it is weird, but at least your shit is compact. When you wear the trunks, they cradle your balls, your wiener's not going anywhere. Just imagine the thing just flopping around while you're trying to grab a hold of a sweaty Greek man.
I was watching those guys do the the sabers, the fencing, fucking crazy. And before that I was watching archery and shotgun skeet shooting, and they were crazy good. But I was like, why can't we do it in a competition back and forth in a non-lethal way? Instead of shooting an archery target, it should be two archers with a arrow tip, like knights and shit, and they got to shoot each other. And then you see the fencing, who's the better killer, because that's what you're doing in fencing, is saying I could stab you up first and fucking kill you. And in archery, they just got to hit a target. I want to see him hit another human shooting back at him. Same with the shotgun thing.
Our own Billy Ray Valentine is in the chat room. He says that he's a horse trotter. So he says
he's a big time horse trotter.
Horse trotter, killing that shit.
And then, dude, kayaking, which shows good rowing, and then even the crew team rowing shit, you know, like that. All that's the old world that is disconnected. That those traditions only really survive in like some weird Ivy League level, you know, like very strange.
What about you, Maddie? What are you into Olympic wise?
I don't watch the Olympics.
What?
Yeah, I don't. Why are we watching games that make us pretend that they mean anything? These competitions between countries, it's all propaganda to make money for corporations. You've got a girl named Simone Biles who gets suspended a month before her thing, and she still can't compete for smoking some weed. I get it. Globally, it's different.
That wasn't Simone Biles, but that was
whatever. I'm sorry, whoever it was. See, that's how much I'm not even watching. So, like, you got people who are getting fucking suspended for smoking weed. You know what I mean? But Michael Phelps got to go back to the Olympics after getting caught fucking smoking weed on camera. It's a fucking double standard. Why should I care? What does this have any effect on my life? Any of these people winning? I don't know any of these people. Sorry, I think
you learned general knowledge. Hamin just learned that there's horse trotting.
Yeah,
well, I don't need to watch the Olympics.
You learn general knowledge.
You know what's probably one of my favorite and most impressive things to watch, and it's just about. Here's why, and I just have it on the other screen while I'm doing other work, rendering video or whatever it is with beautiful people, and is that competition can arise out of nowhere, and it's that tension of like, can the comeback happen in a real sport?
I don't know, Frank. I don't watch pro sports either. So you're talking to a guy about sport.
I'll tell you what had me is ping pong, bro. Dude, fucking ping. Dude, they go off, man. Like there's some saves. You're like, oh, he's got him. Oh, like that feeling. It don't matter who. Like it was China versus Egypt. There was some bangers in there. You're like, wow, like there's no way. It's just impressive that the guy can return that from 14 feet off the table and put it right where he wants to. And you think it's all over with, and the other guy fucking nukes him right back. Like it's small things like that are just like the human nature moments that I like.
Yeah, but the people follow the shit. They're sheeps. It's all fucking. Let me fucking pledge my allegiance to fucking something.
Yeah, it's nationalism.
Yeah, for sure. It's nationalism.
And I don't buy into that personally. Like I'm not gonna fucking. I'm American. I'm proud to be an American, but I'm also not going to be like. I'm America, yeah, and I'm a nationalist, America #1 all the way. We're the best. No, I'm not gonna do that.
There's other things I watch too that I haven't seen. I want to see like the rings where I look and I go, never could I do that. That's devastating. Like that's fucking unbelievable to be able to do that shit. Like I did heavy chest and back the other day. My titties were hurting so bad, so I had the fucking massage going on. I just see that fuckers doing things just laid out like that. I'm just like, God damn, B.
I would rather watch Balls of Fury. Ping pong. Grab it from my hand.
I have an argument that pro wrestling could be an Olympic sport. So hear me out. I'll make it brief. Like you watch Olympic figure skating, right? They do the big jump. And the judges are like, okay, that was a 9. That jump was a 10.
Floor exercises. Like the gymnastic floor,
right? Those 7.
Right.
So why not have 5-minute wrestling match, whatever it is, and then you have these judges that score how good the two. So it's two performers together. I guess you can't rate one over the other, but
they work together. It'd be Team
Correct.
USA
Correct.
with what I mean of what they put on versus. What difference is there between that and the floor exercise gymnastics? If you had Ricochet and whoever else you want to put in there, Cedric, you know what I mean? And they did something. Yeah. I don't see after I watched horse trotting, approved.
I mean, don't the Canadians do the game where they're using a broom or something on ice? That's an Olympic
curling. Yeah, that's the one that got me. That's Winter Olympics. When I saw that, I was like, "Fuck, wrestling can't be in there." But we got people curling.
I also want
No
to point
offense
out,
to curlers.
I also want to point out that I only answered the question of Olympics because you asked me. I don't care enough to go on my social media and complain about it. So
Yeah, no, like I'm not into it. Like, and believe me, I'd be the first one to politicize because I just don't want to partake in the bullshit of it either. I totally get what you're saying, MSG, like all that. I didn't even want to bring up the Simone thing and whatnot because too many people are just being divisive. I just like the fact that when we apply the best athletes, that something magical in a moment is there waiting to be run into. And you know what I mean? Whether it's like that type of legitimacy, even though it gets pimped out, adds to the credibility of wrestling because people see what a true comeback can be, what a dominant performer can be, and da. And then don't we take that and put that on Bobby Lashley? Don't we take that hope that somebody from a third world country is born with some extra power and drive that they came through a tough time, and even if they get the silver, they were right there with the best of the best in their moment. Like that's what I like about. And I'm not nuts for the Olympics. It's just like I say, I have it on. But it don't matter if it's ping. I may be horse trotting. I don't see it, or kayaking. But I saw that Italian guy get hot after that Korean stabbed him up 42-20. He was fucking pissed. I like that shit, man. Like that. That's interesting. And then there's other things basketball game wise and whatnot where guys are playing their ass off thinking they're going to get something. So it's good.
What I can appreciate about it is being somebody that dedicated pretty much my entire life to athletics and sports is the drive and determination it takes to get really good and get to that elite level. So that's what I appreciate about them. To be perfectly honest, I've watched very little, and I will only tune in if it's a consequential thing, like our basketball team's in the finals or, something like that. I'll tune in and watch that.
When I was a kid, that's what I would.
I just had that respect, for that high level of competition and giving everything. It was a time where I wanted to be an Olympic wrestler.
You have to be obsessed.
Yeah.
Like in the past, I will say, growing up and into my early 20s, I definitely was into like the Olympic basketball stuff because that was always cool to see all the top players coming onto one team playing. And I thought that was interesting. But over the course of the last couple of Olympics, the players that go over there or the high profile stars have dwindled. And I'm not saying those guys aren't stars in their own right. I'm just compared to the top earners, the guys who actually are, the ratings showcase in which who are the top players are. God, I'm hitting everything this morning.
All right, so to cap this up, boys, let's say we got 10 people for USA's first pro wrestling dream team.
Ooh.
Who we putting on there? Give me 2 picks.
Current roster?
3. You give me 3 picks. Any company in the world. In America.
We're going on. I mean, this is off wrestling.
Pro wrestling.
America, because it's so diverse right now. You got to take
off of mic, using the mic or cutting a promo. We're talking wrestling.
Pro wrestling. Yep, between the ropes.
I'd probably put Cody on there.
Okay.
I would take. Can we take like a Drew McIntyre?
Yeah, fuck yeah. You can take
but he go to Scotland. That's what I'm thinking. Like because he's there, do you got only
he's American now?
Oh, he isn't. Then I would probably take Drew, Cody, and I need a high flyer.
I'm taking Styles and Bryan.
Yeah, AJ Styles. Right. I was thinking AJ Styles. I was just putting him over too. Yeah, those 3 in there, I think would be good because you got legacy and generationalism. You've got the impressiveness and sexiness of Drew as like, gee, look at that big bastard. And then, the high flyer and AJ with the legacy who could put it all together and be there for every spot. That would be in my 3 picks.
And we'll be fair here. If we're taking women, I'm taking Serena and Jenna. So there you go. I'm taking those.
That's good. Yeah.
I'm going Kenny Omega, Brock Lesnar, Thunder Rosa.
Those are good. Those are good picks. Those are all good. I think.
Team, right?
Yeah. I think that is a dream team right there. One thing that did pop me though was I was watching that archery and the American guy versus France. American guy's got all the Nike shit on, hat, fucking athlete guy. Fucking the bows they got are crazy. And then they cut over the guy in France. He's got a $9.99 white Walmart fucking polo on, 2 sizes too small, got fat rolls bigger than mine, handles, and like he's just like, don't give a shit, bro. Like he looks like he just woke up, like gonna be on camera and like looking just like, you know, some slob that you'd see anywhere, not an Olympic athlete whatsoever.
Is he any good?
He smoked the American guy, bro. He just unbelievable, man.
Cut this, please. Can I get a Mai Tai over here, please?
Yeah, you see everybody else. You see everybody else, like obviously training their ass off. So much cardio. All this guy's fucking down in half a bottle of red, eating some brie, and fucking fucking right in the middle of the bullseye. Oh, okay.
Archery's no joke. I went hunting with my buddy TJ one time during bow season, and he's like, we're driving like 35, and he's in the back of the truck, just stands up and fucking kills a boar just as we're moving. I mean, he's been doing hunting since a kid, but like
impressive.
That's second nature to him. Yeah, like up a hill too. All right, stop the car, runs up the hill, comes back, throws the boar in the back of the truck. All right, let's go. And I'm just like this kid who just moved from California, like, what? Like, what are you just doing? It's crazy.
It's definitely not that. Sometimes it's that easy, and sometimes it's definitely not.
Is that normal? Shooting boar?
Yeah, I mean they became a big nuisance, feral pigs in a lot of places. If they're overrun, and especially if you're in a moving vehicle to roll up on them, it is easier than a hunt and stalk because they're going to see you most of the time before you see them.
Yeah, I've grown up around deer hunters, but I don't think I've ever met anyone that hunted boar.
Yeah, it was the first time I'd seen a boar live in person.
They're kind of scary, those fuckers.
Yeah, they got like big old freaking nostrils and horns going out. Yeah, they're big. All right, well, let's get into a couple stories here. The first story I had, I think it's a pretty cool story. It's a brand new video game. I don't know if you guys have heard it. It's coming out. It's called The Wrestling Code. It's made by the Virtual Basement, and Ben Hamin's tag team partner, actually Congo Kong, is in the game. But as well, the returning former Muhammad Hassan is actually the poster child for this new game itself. Here, and I'm going to show you a quick little snippet here. If you want to share my screen there, Ben, I've got it up. So if you check this out.
So let me tell you a little story. Let me tell you a story about a young man from Detroit who did everything that he was supposed to do, who worked his ass off to make it, to fulfill his dreams, to make it to the top. And when he made it to the top, he beat everybody they put in front of him. What happened?
All right, that's just a little snippet here. I don't know how long we can go on copyright, but there you go. Muhammad Hassan, brand new game. He's the poster child. Wow. Brand new game itself called The Wrestling Code. It's supposed to feature over like 100 different independent wrestlers. So if you guys are listening to the show, go tweet the virtual code or the wrestling code itself on Twitter. Let them know Ben Hamin should be in the game with his tag team partner. But yes, Congo Kong has also been announced for that game, and a legion of other stars. Kong looked pretty sick in the game, the graphics they had for him and all that, his facial stuff like that. But that's one of the first tech demos that they announced yesterday. So thoughts on Ben Hamin, Muhammad Hassan? I had to correct somebody on YouTube because they were like, oh, this is his first match in 16 years. I was like, no. He had a match 3 years ago. Here's the fucking link.
He had a couple of them. He punched me in the face.
Here's the link, guy. Go check it out, YouTube creator. Google it next time. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, man. I didn't know it was these guys. These guys are local to me. And they reached out a while ago, and I said, yeah, man, whatever we can do to help, because I put them on to him. I didn't know he was going to be the main draw, and I'm surprised because he's a principal now, and I know when he moved up to that position, he might even be like assistant superintendent. Can't remember what it was. But they said no more wrestling interviews, matches. Like that was part of what's what. And this might have been before that because these things been in development a long time. But the guy looks like $1 million, bro. He can walk on TV tomorrow. He runs 10 miles a day. He's the perfect, like how Stevie is discipline wise for his own, like if that's who I was going to school, I'd be proud that guy is my kid's principal, setting a standard of health and wellness. You know what I mean? He's a smart guy and a family man. And I'm glad he's getting a shine because without him, there would be no Ben Hamin for me to pick up that torch because I was pissed that they did that and took that off. And I was like such a 9/11 truther. I was like, this shit's got to keep going. And I just made it my own. But from what he did from OVW to what they were when they were taking chances in WWE inspired me. And to get to work with them and kind of close that loop, that was awesome experience for me. And I'm pumped for him. Congo Kong, another guy who, yeah, people know who he is because he stands out in Impact or wherever. And because they do bad business doesn't mean that he's not a fucking mega star and shouldn't have games built around him. There's so much money written on Kong. Me and Kong by himself, whatever. What he did with Chelsea Green, possibly my favorite thing in wrestling in 20 years, bro. Like that is quality character work. And the best acting we do is when we say nothing at all. His character's pretty much a mute most of the time. And he can get over massively as a baby face or a heel. The guy, and for his size, his athleticism is unparalleled, dude. He's so good. And I'm glad for these guys at Virtual Basement. They're producers making something on their own that they love, and they put in a lot of time on the 3D modeling. And there may have been some early talk because I didn't realize that's what it was about me being in the game. So hit them up, support them, and we'll try and have them on. And this is all good news. I like it.
Hey, Silvio, since you grew up the same time frame I did, I can't remember. Maybe someone in the chat room will. Maybe you will. There was a cartoon. It might have been a cartoon when we were kids. I don't know if it was Doug or whatever it was, where the principal would put on a mask and double as a pro wrestler. I know that trope has probably been used over the years, but that's what
there's Billy Madison, right?
Might have been Doug.
I was thinking Doug, though. I think it was Doug. But yeah, but you should have
in the movie Billy Madison. The fucking principal is like the green booger or whatever what was he?
I think that's an old trope. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. It might have been an old trope where the principal or superintendent doubled. I think I've seen it on American Dad too, where a trope where somebody dresses up as a principal. Silvio, do you think Muhammad Hassan should put on a mask? Could he put on a mask and come back so he doesn't get in trouble at work?
Sure. Man, I like Muhammad Hassan, and I feel really bad about how things worked out for him. I thought the guy did great in the role he was asked to do and was super talented, and then got penalized for being great at the role he was in and being super talented at it. But it's cool. I'm glad he's happy and he's doing this game. Congo Kong's the man. He splashed me one time from the top rope. I don't recommend allowing him to do that to you. But yeah, it's all good, man. Anytime indie guys can get some exposure and we get a new wrestling game out, I'm all for it.
And it looked cool. It's funny to me that that promo you put on a kid from Detroit who didn't get his shot, that he's still doing the fucking gimmick too, and he's not the gimmick at all.
The promo even gets better. He cuts it. I mean, I would encourage you to go watch the full trailer. It's about 2 minutes because he even goes further about how he was exiled. He worked his way to the top, blah, blah, blah. It's a really good promo for sure.
He did, and he was.
Yeah. And the only thing I have a complaint about as an audio nerd is the audio wasn't that great, but that was probably just a raw capture of a promo. So let's go to the next piece of news. This has to do with fans who can't decide, fans who are telling, maybe wrestlers, entertainers, that they're not going to watch them or support them anymore if they go to AEW. Here's the news. Wale asked some wrestling fans on Twitter why they can't both enjoy WWE and AEW. He tweeted out, "Wrestling Twitter, what you all think about Tony Khan gonna say today?" And her fan replied to him by saying, "Wale, if you go to AEW, I will delete your songs, unfollow you on all platforms, and erase your songs from my memory completely." And he responded, "Well, why you all act like you can't watch two brands?" And he responded by saying, "Because WWE was there when no promotion was able to put wrestling on the map how it is now. The only respect I could pay to Vince is to stick to WWE without being compromised." Mm-hmm. And Wale responded, "You do understand that most of these talents are friends and hang out with each other, right?" Maybe I'm getting too emotionally triggered here over the last couple weeks. I'm just reading a lot of stupid comments, and I'm just like, I'm having to put my phone down and not respond to some of these things. Silvio, what is going on here? Why can't people just enjoy wrestling?
That is stupid. And not just stupid, it's incredibly stupid. I blame social media. There was a time where there are just as many stupid people now as there were 15, 20, 100 years ago. The problem is a stupid thought would pop into my head. let's say I'm an idiot 30 years ago and Hamin's my idiot friend. I'd say something like that to Hamin. He'd be like, yeah, you're right. And that would be the end of it. Well, now all these idiots have a way to get that idiotic thought immediately onto a stream with billions of users. And everybody that wants to bitch, or everybody that's a pussy, or fucking heard about whatever thing has nothing to do with them or impacts their lives in any way, can just get on and complain about anything they want. And yeah, that's just the stupidest thing I've heard.
It's just the mindset, though, of telling people like, or what was it, Daniel Bryan, I'm not going to support you anymore if you go to AEW.
Don't go to work. You have a wife and a baby. Don't go to work, because I don't like the job.
I will, before you jump in, Ben, I was going to say, though, my friends, because I did the same thing, you say some shit. My friends don't. I must not have been saying some smart shit, because my friends, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know if I was inebriated with that. If I said something stupid like that, no, they wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, move on. No, what the fuck are you talking about? But I could have been inebriated.
Sounds like you had good friends, then.
I do. I have really good friends who keep me in check. Ben, what do you think about these fans creating? I mean, I get it. I'm assuming these people are just so obsessed. All they have is wrestling in their lives as fans, so they obsess about it so much that they don't want their moral fiber to crumble.
Yeah, brand loyalty is a powerful thing, right? It's a very developed marketing tool and weapon. And people, especially in 2021, have been divided. So almost everything we do is the illusion of choice. Right. And then if your choice is different than mine, they can't coexist. There's no, my choice must be more dominant than your choice. This is just everything that they're led through in their day, from anti-whatever, the jab and the jab knots, politics, so now when it comes down to even their entertainment, it has to be a defensive position with possible cancellation, because like Sil said, this social media monster is giving people that option to get to somebody right away. Now, the problem is the person they're trying to get to sells for it and engages them and gives that credibility to that, because at the end of the day, that celebrity is false too, and everyone can be gotten to, and it's just a fact that an entertainer became popular for some reason, or
and they're also human, and every human has a breaking point.
Sure. But to Wally's point, he's saying they're friends and you're marks without saying that, while you're trying to do brand loyalty. You know what I mean? He walked the line pretty well, I think. And but that is also, it might show that he's a better worker, or he's also not loyal to WWE, but they just did the thing with him on SmackDown. So for him to be tweeting about AEW doesn't seem like a smart business move to me. Or is it a smart business move that he can jump over and do stuff in Chicago with AEW and be the man in the middle? We saw Snoop jump, and then there was supposed heat on that, but Snoop's in the new WWE video game as well. So bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay, pay this motherfucker every single day. He might be smarter than I am, where I'm doing some stupid brand loyalty to wrestling instead of saying fuck that, let's fuck up the game fully and make sure I'm over. So I respect that dude as a performer, tapping into the micro demographic. And what he's saying here is absolutely correct. And it's marks being super marks who have social dysfunction, who love wrestling so much because they want to hold on to their inner child, and that this is giving them a way to live out their newly found political views tied to a wrestling product. All that is great marketing emotion tied to a fucking phony thing that you can then tweak your audience's mind. And if I'm Vince and Tony Khan, I'm happy I got these psychos on my side, because like that makes fanaticism.
Right.
Sure.
The hardest thing to do in marketing.
What's that? What we got here? We have a run in here coming. Coming to the show, ladies and gentlemen. She is the cyborg. She's not human. She's the genocide.
Oh! She's jock jamming right now. She's ready for a 10-woman main event opener.
Taking over. She's training all time, all day, never stops. Silvio's like,
I couldn't help myself.
That was an awesome entrance. Yeah.
I couldn't help myself. I missed the open of the podcast.
Coming off of her win at NWA.
Yep, big win.
Boom.
What up, though?
Yeah, what's good? That was a great entrance last night. I popped for that too in the beginning of the show, but beautiful, sexy, talented Genocide posting a very empowering and revealing. Yeah, picture today. I like that.
Cover my eyes, cover your eyes.
I know. Totally out of my comfort zone.
I showed the wives. They loved it. Beautiful and inspiring and good for you. We're very proud of you as always. And comedically hilarious. Not afraid to get in touch with her big gay nerd and do some funny entrances. That showed me a lot right there.
There's a difference too between how Jenna posts herself looking sexy and strong versus looking for thirst traps like other.
100%. And 100%.
No, what I should have said,
very tasteful.
Maybe I'll do another one and post a before picture. But really what I want to say to all of my bullies when I was a fat little kid, to kiss my firm, tight metal ass.
Well, I wanted to put you on the spot right here because it is, it's very tastefully done, very sexy and beautiful for all the work you've done to self-improve physically. That's the inspiration. But
Thank
the
you guys, I really appreciate it. Definitely wasn't looking for a thirst trap. Just
no. When you look
out of my comfort zone to show how far I've come.
Yeah, when you look at your pictures, you go, God damn, Jenna's fucking cut. She's strong. She can kick somebody's ass. You're not thinking, oh my God, you know what I mean? At least that's not, hopefully normal people aren't thinking.
That's what Still thinks. But the wives wanted to know what's the diet rules. I go, this girl's working out, lifting heavy weights, cardio, is Muay Thai, then doing chin-ups, doing deadlifts. Like there isn't anything you don't incorporate into your workouts, body weight-wise or extreme lifting-wise or MMA fight-wise. How about diet-wise and what you've had to do to be successful? Because they were asking me about that.
Oh, for me, because of like my internal struggles, I do a high protein and low carb kind of nutrition program. Basically, I want to eat so many carbs, but they don't work for my body type. I don't do keto or a high fat or anything. I've had to play with foods. And Chris sees me like if I want to eat this.
Yeah.
Pizza on camera.
Then I get like a big belly and it's like I'm in pain. So it varies, and different foods make my body do weird certain things. And I just have to play with my diet. But I mean, sometimes I'll risk it and I just want a fucking slice of pizza.
Sure.
And I don't starve my body. And when I want something naughty, like I'll have it. I don't care. I have my little carb-free ice cream every night. And I'm not afraid to say it. I eat ice cream every night.
Well, you work hard to make sure that calorie deficit's there the next day as well. So it's all, you're going to earn it like anything else. But super proud of everything that's going on. What else coming up? Anything?
I got Mission Pro this weekend in Conroe, Texas, and I have the second round tournament against Vert Vixen. And then the week after, I am back in Dallas, Texas, wrestling there for my first time at a wrestling expo where my older brothers are going to see their sister wrestle for the very first time. So
nice.
I'm stoked. And then I have Empower on August 28th. And then we'll see what happens. NWA's big 73rd pay-per-view is the following day. I'm bringing Silvio, and we're going to St. Louis, baby, wrestling at the Chase.
Nice.
I got a lot going on.
You guys follow her at Genocide on Instagram for sure. I'm sure you'll be able to see all those stories in there, right?
Don't you have some big signing coming up in the Northeast or something like that?
Oh, yeah. I'm doing my first signing. No wrestling, signing. I could do that all day. So that's my first one. October 2nd is a Legends of Wrestling event that they're doing like a super signing. I have to turn this off. I can't hear them.
I think it's somewhere around your neck of the woods, Hamin, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that where Hamin is? I didn't even know.
Yeah, Hamin's
up by Albany,
New York.
I think it's up by Albany. Well, you said it's October 2nd. Yeah, I'm sure that'll go right off of the heels of the 2CW show because 2CW's 9:30 October 1, and everyone's.
Okay, we'll have to wrestle.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
So that is good. Those are going to be huge shows with Bucks and everybody will be around. I wouldn't doubt if Khan's there, to be honest with you.
You guys
I'm on a Carney show on this coming Sunday, New Breed Entertainment up in Messina, and it's supposed to be Chris Masters, Carlito, Deanna was on that. Did you see Deanna warned to not deal with this promoter dude? And like, I don't know, it was vague. She didn't say like, well, he didn't pay my upfront in time or whatever it was, but I warn all wrestlers to watch out when dealing with this guy. I sent him a message saying, hey, bro, everything good for Sunday? I haven't heard back yet, so we'll see. Oh,
wow. No, I didn't see that.
What's the promotion called? Put it
said
up.
New Breed.
New Breed and Blazer Amanaya. It's supposed to have most of the good Northeast Indie workers on there. It was going to be a solid show, and the arena's nice, but Deanna's not on it anymore, and the message was kind of weird. So we'll see. Carney's going to Carney.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll get bumped to the main event, and I'll ask for more money.
There you go.
There you go.
I can also, in fact, confirm that Jenna's attire right now did require an outfit change. About 30 minutes ago when we began this podcast.
Nice.
She was not in her
My
Elite Squad costume.
We have no basketballs at our garage show, so I had to settle for an ab ball.
You want to sit on your ab ball? It might be a little more comfortable.
So that was a cool opening last night to the show, man. I popped for the Space Jam, that plug that they got that shit over to. That was solid, and it was good, fun way to open wrestling, man. A lot of people were shitting on the 10-man to open. I enjoyed it because it was a Young Bucks.
I don't know if it should have been an opener. I'll disagree on that because they were pulling out all left and right. I mean, it was just crazy. It was too much for an opener for me.
I
feel bad for the people that had to follow it because I thought it was that good, and I did.
Yeah, but the only thing you can follow that with, Jenna, is extreme violence and blood, which they had to have for the main event. So there's no way you could have moved the main any other place on the card. I agree it was a main event, but if you're going to have to do it and overbook it, then it's got to be in that spot. No one's going to be able to follow it, especially to do an 8-man later. That was a bad booking call after you'd done a 10-man. That wasn't going to get over, but they had to, because there's no way you can be pizza cutting somebody in SAG 1 and then go
watch that stuff. I'm a big badass, but I don't do that shit.
My biggest complaint about this, though, is, and I know they were advertising the new Space Jam. I've already seen the new Space Jam. That classic song is not even used, and that pissed me off watching the new Space Jam. They didn't even use "Welcome to the Space Jam." They didn't even use that in the new movie. So the fact that the Elite did it was awesome, because I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is." I just wanted to hear this fucking song.
Yeah, you want the nostalgia trigger, and
I wanted
the nostalgia Space Jam track on my YouTube.
I wanted that nostalgia trigger, and I didn't get it from the movie. So the Elite, as soon as they came out with and they did it, it was already over with me. The whole fucking segment. I
didn't even realize that's what they were supporting or pitching. I just thought it was I don't know.
Their jerseys. You remember the jerseys?
Yeah.
It was
Elite
like
Squad.
a play on
I just thought it was like a fun. I don't know.
So in the new Space Jam movie, there's about a good 15 minutes where they peddle every Time Warner type of, or Warner Brothers type of property they have, from Rick and Morty being in it to people from HBO to other cartoons. So it's kind of been their thing. They've been using the networks, all of their shows, to push Space Jam and other programs.
I loved the entry. Like when Hangman came out with the Dark Order, you guys know how I feel about the pairing, but the crowd was hot and they all looked cool together. I was like, this is great. And then when fucking the Elite, when you see Omega try to dribble the ball and Jenna points out Callis is in the Poom Poom shorts, I fucking lost it and fucking.
It was good. Dude, it was fun. It was
good.
fun.
We were laughing and smiling, and that's what entertainment is. And it drew a reaction. And the little vignette, I won't discredit, with the cowboy and the Dark Order. Great vignette with the walk, with the stable, and like all their little promos. And that was, I thought, great as well. But yeah, totally outstaged with the basketball entrance.
Yeah, it was commitment to ridiculous. And if you half-ass ridiculous, you're just ribbing wrestling, which is a lot of what Callis does sometimes. This was not that. This was what you just did. I'm not afraid to be a fool, but you think I'm a fool? Now watch me turn the volume up to 11 on Fool. You thought I was there. And it becomes more fun. And if you're the one shitting on it, then you become the asshole judging it, not enjoying the fun. You know what I mean? So that their commitment made it, and the nostalgia pop was good. Even the get him in the corner, hit him, the big snabits that Omega hit him with, and then they got it right back on him, and they put
Gallows.
Yeah, but Machine Gun gets back on him, like thinking he's in the line, so he goes in and gets one on Gallows in a comedy style way. Like after you think it's too much done, then they pay off the joke on the comedy spot that was like, oh, and we're having fun even in the wrestling. So I like that, but then I did not like Homeboy taking corkscrew planchas where nobody catches him and he falls onto the fucking ground.
Oh, we both were shaking our head going, oi. Not only that, like he hit his leg, he hit his head. You saw it bounce like a basketball.
There was 5 people there and they all sold away. Like they all early sold.
Chris spotted it. The only person that caught some lick of that was his own team member, Cowboy.
He kicked Hangman.
I cannot stand that pro wrestling continues to do this. Let's all fucking stand around and wait to be jumped on. Takes you so out of the moment. Just pretend like you don't see them for a split
second. When a girl's jumping on there and you got my big body and I got you. Yeah. We're not.
I just want some acting. Pretend like you don't see them coming, then turn around at the last second and take the hit. Like
or have spotters. So if you got 5 guys there, you have one guy, Big Gallows, for his back or whatever. So it's 2 of them, and the other 2 guys are watching him come. So Gallows can sit there and be the base for when he gets hit and take it blindly instead of everybody just curl up and nobody's on the outside wailing on each other.
Here it comes! Like
it's bad. It's bad.
That's like it's like when you're standing on a train track and you see the train coming. You're like, what am I gonna do? I need to get out of the way.
But Grayson was hitting other stuff that was super athletic in this match, bro. Like, wow. Really just. I'm surprised his body can. I watched AJ do it this weekend too. I was watching AJ be like right on time with shit. And I was going, dude, 20 years in, this guy's still hitting springboard 450s clean as a whistle. What the fuck? You know, I don't do that shit either. No pizza cutters, no springboard 450 for me. You're not going to see it.
Ditto.
Maddie, I think the reason why they continue to do that, what you're griping about, much like our good friend here, Ben Hamin, the Young Bucks are very anti-establishment, and it's been bitched about over the last year about to not do the group huddle for the dive. I think even JR spoke out on it. So, of course, the Bucks are going to do it. Of course, Omega is going to do it. You know what I mean? So they might even be doing it as a rib. Either that or they just don't care. They don't give a fuck.
Everybody does it is the issue. Everybody in every match that's got a dive with multiple people like that does that. That's my biggest thing. If it's a one-off thing and if it was the Young Bucks thing, okay,
Where do you think they got it from, Matt?
They got it from the Young Bucks and they're just continuing.
Maybe not necessarily just them,
right?
But they got it from watching other people who were on a higher level than they were do it, and then it went on and on.
They're watching the wrong wrestling. Go back and watch some wrestling in the 80s and 90s, for God's sakes. That being said, AEW Dynamite did start off with that 10-man match. Just to get to a couple stats here before we go on. So the last 2 weeks, the July 21st episode did 1.148 million, and the previous week it did 1.025 million. So it has had an uptick since the fans have returned. We'll see what last night's edition did, especially with the excitement.
Big news. What's up with Punk and Daniel Bryan? That's what's going to move them to take over Raw, right? And we announced August 20th. Is that what it was for Chicago?
It's the next Chicago event, yes.
And then Khan's on Busted Open saying there's so much misinformation out there and it's not true and I lie. It's that him trying to cover because the deal's already done and the money's out. If you got all this buzz, why would you not open up Big Daddy's bank account and get Punk there and put a beating on him? Because you could go that next week head to head with Raw and beat them.
Well, I think when it comes to that, just to clarify, Tony Khan was on Busted Open Radio, and he buried a lead on a story from bodyslam.net that reported that him, Cody, and the Bucks and Omega met in secret over the weekend to talk about blah, blah, blah. So he said that story was not true, but he never came out. He's never come out flat out and said CM Punk is not coming. So of course,
Did you ever say Daniel Bryan wasn't coming, or that's a known done deal?
Daniel Bryan, I don't think is as hot on the conversation right now. It is as Punk is. That's what everybody is more or less talking about. I think because Punk hasn't been around for 7 years. So I think that's the hot topic, the hot return everybody wants. The next big event is in Chicago. And throughout this show, they definitely teased Chicago being something big, from promos and wrestlers to the commentators. So they're certainly really teasing it. It's hard for me to get excited because I was, I'm a beaten down Impact Wrestling TNA fan. Okay. And for over a decade, I got promised surprises that never turned out to be good. So I'm a little skeptical that we're going to get I'm a little skeptical to get excited until we actually see CM Punk or Daniel Bryan show up.
Would you swerve it on the 20th and hit? I doubt they can get Cult of Personality because I think WWE's got it. But
no, I don't think so.
Of like, he's here and even show Punk stuff, and then have Daniel Bryan walk out. And
you want him to be a dirty heel.
If you want him to get the heel reaction,
that's or just do it as comedy. He walks up the ramp, sees a shit, goes, "Oop, not my time," walks back down.
That's great.
Wrong. Fly to the Bumblebee.
Or if they both came up the ramp and looked and were like, "Oh, is this my time? Your time?" Oh, sorry, walk, go back down. One of them leaves.
That's great.
Saying yes,
but, right.
I say Brian shows up in Queens. That's my
Arthur Ashe Stadium event in September, right? The Grand Slam, they're calling.
They need a hook for it, and I think Brian will be that hook.
What's the event in September?
It's a stadium in Queens, New York, Arthur Ashe Stadium.
So there are a lot of tennis
until lockdown happens, and then nobody gets to go to any shows, and 2CW is canceled.
They better go quick on this.
So getting now to the stars.
New York. The company I work for is based in New York, and they just asked me for my Vax card, and I go, reminder, I work remotely from Florida.
So to get to that 10-man tag match to start off the night, we had Hangman Page, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds from the Dark Order. As you mentioned, they had matching gear. This was from Being the Elite. That probably should have showed that on TV. But last week on Being the Elite, John Silver and Alex Reynolds gave Hangman some new gear, and he was like, I'm not going to wait I'm not going to wait long to wear this gear. I think I'm going to wear it right away. So that's why they came out with new gear this week. We also had, as you mentioned, the Elite Squad, being Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, Carl Anderson, and Doc Gallows. Just to run down the eliminations, we saw Anderson roll up Reynolds to start off the match to get the first elimination. And then we saw, I believe, Grayson and Gallows were then counted out. We saw Uno and Grayson hit a fatality on Anderson. Then we saw Omega perform the One Wing Angel and pinned Uno. Then we also saw Silver was hit with a BT trigger by the Bucks and was then pinned by Matt. There was a good spot there on the outside where they go to do the Meltzer driver, and Nick tries to dunk it and he misses it, and then he picks the bat ball back up and dunks it and yells at the camera. That's what was supposed to happen. Sorry, I like that part.
There was no way that was going to happen.
Close.
There was no way that was going to work. So I saw him going for it. I was like, absolutely not.
I would have taken someone's head and just hit it on the rim or something.
Right.
He was trying to be Rick. I mean, this is a more dangerous spot. I'm not suggesting it, but he should have at least attempted a front flip with that, right? With the basketball for the dunk. No, I'm kidding. Page, the Bucks. Then pinned the BT trigger, as I mentioned, on Reynolds, and the next elimination. Then it basically came down to 3-1. It was Kenny Omega and the Bucks versus Omega after Johnny Hungry was eliminated on the 450 splash and some kicks. The Elite, though, defeats Hangman Page and the Dark Order in 25 minutes and 35 seconds, according to this time count. Interestingly enough, the stipulation for this match, though, was if Hangman and his team won, they got a shot at both the AEW World Championship and the Dark Order gets a tag team title shot. But if they lost, they get nothing. Well, they lost. So, I mean, where do you go here now, Ben? I mean, you had Hangman and Kenny finally touch, which they should have never touched this match, in my opinion. And then you had Hangman lose. So, are we going away from Hangman and Kenny? Is that because we're bringing in Punk and Bryan? Is that are they? I
think this spells bad news for Hangman. To be honest with you, dude, I think they're gonna shift off of him here because of this. They're gonna say that was your big shine and da da da. But they killed him in the water right there. And also on this finish, I was a little bit.
Really killed him on the...
Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
No, I was just saying they really killed him in this finish It took all three of them. He was kicking out of all three of them, running moves on him, which makes him look strong. But then in the end, with the fuck up with the belts and the ref involved, I was getting real hot about that. But, they already put him with the Dark Order. I feel like they're just trying to like set him up for nothing at this point after this kind of thing.
I think these big deals. I think these big deals shifted them. I think you're right, and that also makes me believe that those guys are coming because they put a lot of time into them, and I can't believe anybody wouldn't be like, "Whoa, you can't do this finish like that." And the other part that was smaller thing that got me hot was you had Brandon Cutler. I never thought I'd be going to bat for Brandon Cutler in a finish. Brandon Cutler's on the outside doing the phone thing when we know he's the spritz guy there with the icy stuff. But then we have Nick Jackson come back to do the leg hold after he already got fucked off. That's Brandon Cutler's spot right there to fuck that up and go into the finish and be the hero that helps Omega get over on him with that, bro. Everybody got eliminated. There's one stooge left on the outside. You don't bring back a guy who got eliminated. You use that guy, even if it's a shocker moment where he tries to hook it.
Yeah.
And Hangman sees it, jumps, come down, and stomps his phone so Cutler can go, my phone. Everybody in the whole place can relate to if somebody stomped your phone, what you would feel like. We missed that. That's that small detail. Then fucking Hangman be like, yeah, fuck you. Turn around, walk with the belt, and we're done. So I don't know, man. They got him there, and then that finished me. I was like, oh,
Let me ask a follow-up question to that. Yeah. Did you? I mean, because I liked it because they and then they pointed it out, the fact that that's how Hangman screwed the Bucks last year for the tag titles against FTR in that tournament. So I like the fact that it was a kind of a callback to that same fashion with Nick now.
Remember that, really?
Nobody until they
remember that.
No way is anybody like,
oh man, come on!
We got him a year ago.
There's a whole thread dedicated to a make-believe story between Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. You don't think the AEW fans are that obsessive? I mean, you got a guy who's
on a hook finish like that.
We just had a conversation about wrestling fans being so fanaticism. I disagree. I think they do.
Okay. I value your opinion.
I think they do. Remember, I think they're that. I'm not saying all fans, but I definitely think AEW fans.
Then let me tell you this. Then okay, I'm glad it's a callback, but it's wrong to do that callback over to doing the right finish in the right business.
Okay. That's fair. Shout out to Rad Rob in the chat room, Opinion Haver. They both have podcasts up with Big Ray. You can go check them out. The Next Level's up right now, as well as Rad Rob's show on his YouTube is up. They did the RTW Rewind, but that will be out this Sunday on Hamin Media Group. Him and Big Ray do some retro review and cartoons and whatnot. And of course, like you always check out the Next Level review with the vet as well as with Colin Weissong as they review the Impact Attack. So following that match, hang
on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't let you move past that match.
Yeah, go to the end, please, because I forgot.
I don't have. Do you want to say something about the end? Okay. The finish was the Bucks and Omega and Hangman. They beat him up for a while. Hangman beat Matt Jackson and then ended up losing.
Right.
It was more of the details. The ref saw the other belt and made it pitch to fit.
That's what
and like clearly took the belt out of Omega's hand, his first belt, got it out of the way. And then when they brought the second one there, it was clearly blatantly laying in front of the other ref. And then he just didn't do anything.
He pretended like he didn't.
And it was planted, and you can call what move they were about to do with it, like 5 minutes before it happened. It was just a little sloppy, and I didn't like the story at the end.
I agree that wasn't needed. It certainly was overbooked finish. The segment was cool as fuck, from the entrance to all the crazy action we got, 4 dives, cool eliminations, cool moves. It was all great. But I think that match was a standalone show. Like if you had an hour special on TNT or something, that match, and give us some promos and maybe one other one, and we're good. The unfortunate part of that match is it killed the audience until the death match. So yes, Hamin said earlier, what can top that? Blood and guts and pizza cutters. And he's 100% right. I rearranged the entire card, and we'll go over that later. But what I would have done
in your face, Jenna, in your fucking face,
I would have put this match semi-main event, had a promo as a buffer, and then go to the blood and guts.
You could have put the Mox promo between that Elite and that. I think that would have been good. Because
how was Thunder Rosa and that new chick supposed to follow that? Come on, what is that doing for women in their show and where they were in the card?
Trust me, I got some things.
We're not there yet. Don't get me started.
But look, how are you gonna have? Just think about the logic of this. You get this tag team match that had everything. It was a great match. What they did was like match number 1. Hamin and I have a TLC match, and I put him through tables. He bashes me over the head with chairs. We climb ladders. We jump off of him. Then the next match, Matt, you have to go out and have just the ladder match. That's what happened to FTR and LAX, who people have been waiting forever to see these two. Listen to the fucking crowd. They were done. All those people were dead in the water until
they were like, you could hear a pin drop. They had a strong open with some sick chain highlighting their wrestling technique and ability. And I could have heard like crickets in there. Like it was painful. And I felt for them that they had to follow that because they're amazing. And what they were doing was amazing in the ring. And yeah, you can just hear how quiet they're. I'm like, look their fans don't even understand what's going on right now. Because
Conan's out there and really isn't a major part of the story. Right. After they give him the big fucking gimmick. Yeah, dude. And old boy's definitely on the floor to B12 water looking phenomenal in the ring in there. But then the big story, I guess, coming out of this is which one is FTR? The Wheeler pretty much cut his arm to the artery on the turnbuckle and was blood.
I couldn't tell from
that was on the sheets this morning. I mean, they weren't showing it, but I guess it was bad news bears.
Just to
go ahead, Matt.
I want to wrap up the last thing with the match. The Young Bucks Elite thing. I think this match would have been better if they'd done it 2 weeks ago, right before the premiere of the movie. Then you wouldn't have had as much, all the stuff happening on one show. And I think it would have made more sense to then promote that song that we're not going to hear before the movie, not afterwards. And then I get triggered. Anyway, the tag match, though, yes, that followed FTR, you guys mentioned. But before we get there, we did have a couple of backstage interviews and we had an in-ring interview. So the first thing was backstage, Alex Marvez stood with Pac and said he was supposed to interview the Death Triangle, but they weren't there. So Pac said an anonymous individual canceled Penta El Zero and Rey Fenix's car. Andrade and Chavo Guerrero then show up. Chavo spoke, looked really good about sending a limo, though, for Penta and Phoenix. And then Andrade said, you better be careful. They might just end up, as a leader of your team, you need to watch better over your team. And then Andrade said that him and Chavo have to leave as they have style. What did you think of this backstage interaction and introduction to Chavo there on Mike, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, people pop for Chavo, but you just brought him in, and that's the most you're going to use him on this show. Is that about a fucking limo spot to say that the Latinos are working together? Like, what is Death Triangle and like these guys who are just spot fest crazy and fucking haven't really had a chance to get over? Is that really what you are? And now we're going to do this, that he's going to be under El Idolo, and maybe he'll become the El Chapo character we want with a bunch of sicarios like Pentagon, like Phoenix, like Chavo as the fucking voice to be able to talk and Americanize it.
I was actually going to ask you that. Do you think with The Sopranos coming out, should AEW be capitalizing and making like a Latin mafia type?
Yeah, the problem is, though, they already tried to start doing fucking what's his name from Nightmare Factory? QT Marshall as Tony Soprano with the shirts, and they didn't commit to it, so they've already fucking half gone away with it. So I wouldn't do Sopranos. I'd do Narcos and just do it as good as you can in an El Chapo storyline.
Narcos was good. Silvio?
Could any of you guys honestly understand what Andrade was saying at the end of that?
Nope. I had subtitles on.
Okay, so Hamin, as a performer and a human being, don't you think that should be addressed on screen?
What, that I can't understand what the fuck you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
said that. People think they kind of understand me. I kind of understand what you're saying, buddy, or something like that, in his own way, right?
It would make it so fucking entertaining. I think it might have been Talladega Nights. Is it the one with the guy from Borat? Sacha Baron Cohen and Ricky Bobby, where they're feuding at the end, and he's saying, "I can't." What are you saying? I don't understand. Like, clearly Andrade, he's trying, and I love Andrade.
Really sin pancakes. Huh?
You don't know what he's saying. So let's have that entertainment of people pointing that out, because the audience all knows it. If Pac would have been like, I don't understand a word you just said, pal.
There's so much in there to misinterpret.
Yeah.
And write lines where it sounds like something else and he says something else. And then you're like, no, he said this. But dude, to get hyped up and keep going. But that goes to show that words don't mean anything. Emotion means everything, right? Words are just the wrapping paper for them. And how can we get those scenes to convey that? I think that's a good idea, Sil, for sure. And funny.
Yeah, super fun.
But these guys are not into being funny and fun. These guys are into thinking they're over and that they're going to fucking be world beaters. And like, they're not ready to show ass. They want fucking in your face instead of fucking wait until they get hurt and they have to do fun. And they go, shit, we should have been doing fun a long time ago. Right? That's how it goes 95% of the time. That's how Dick Justice and I can go out and work a 2 to 3 year program. Nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's doing any dumb shit, And there's heat.
I saw a Curb Your Enthusiasm clip the other day where Larry David had chipped his tooth, and so did Leon, his roommate. And Larry was currently beefing with some Latinos who were using his credit card. Mm-hmm. So Larry shows up to confront them, and both of them are speaking with the lisp and almost sounding like they're doing a mock accent. So somewhere during the interaction, the Latinos go, are you mock? Because he was trying to get them to pronounce their name correctly. It's pronounced Manzana, and Larry would be like, Manzana. So they thought that they were making fun of them. And then slowly all the Latinos in the room at this banquet start surrounding them. And they're saying, lo siento, lo siento, lo siento. It was thrown in trash cans. It was fucking hilarious. That's what I thought of when I saw that Andrade thing yesterday.
And they could get over. Good artists create, great artists steal and make it their own. Only high-level people who watch Curb Your Enthusiasm and wrestling will be able to tie that together. It'll be familiar, but we can put a spin on it where it's the exact same game with different players and make something great out of it. I think that's phenomenal. So, you know what I saw that I actually just tweeted her back, just a link. I didn't even put anything in there, but a picture is Spears' wife, Cassie Lee, from Iconics.
Yeah.
She just finished 9 weeks of improv someplace in Florida there. So I sent her TJ and Dave's book, but that's my whole id of like, how do we take bits and reinvent them? And how do we live in the moment doing this kind of stuff and making it fun? It seems like those guys would benefit a lot more instead of trying to, all this is so forced, these backstage things, and they're not real, Well,
moving on, so I don't sit here and think about Talladega Nights quotes for the next hour. With my high income and advances in medical science, I could live to be about 300. So next up after that, we got Taz outside. He's standing on a podium, a Team Taz podium, and he introduces Ricky Stark for the FTW title celebration. Jazz band plays when the Saints go marching in at ringside. Starks and Hook make their entrance. Enters the ring. He gets a bouquet of flowers. He said he loved the band, and Powerhouse Hobbs would have loved it too if he'd been there. Brian Cage then comes out in the middle of Starks' pretty good promo. Starks got a promo about, being the best, being the one who can talk on the mic the best, about how Brian Cage has had a 17-year career and still hasn't made anything out of himself. Got a pretty good promo. And then Brian Cage just interrupts. And before he can do that, what is this? Brian Cage interrupts. Exactly, jazz music. Before he can do anything, Tony Stark runs out of the ring. Sorry, Tony Stark. What am I, Iron Man now? Ricky Stark rolls out of the ring and gets away. What'd you think of this segment, Silvio?
I like Ricky Starks a lot. And my friend Timmy Lou Retton was an extra playing an instrument and later got a drum broken over his head.
Oh, okay, cool.
Very talented wrestler. He should have been doing something other than that. I laughed so hard when I saw Taz, just like when you announced the segment just now, Matt, when I saw Taz on that giant podium, I just had to laugh and go, what the fuck is going on? What are they possibly going to do? So Ricky came out. He got a good promo digging on Cage for not having charisma. There was clearly some kind of audio issues going on.
Yeah.
I heard Ricky's audio levels drop from watching on TV, And I think the crowd was chanting, "We can't hear you." So some kind of audio glitch. What made it kind of shitty though was Cage runs out, which is to be expected as he would. He breaks a trombone and he doesn't attack Ricky Starks, and then Ricky just runs away. Like, I mean, if I slapped your mother, banged your wife, and stole the last $100 from your wallet, and you're coming to confront me, are you going to stop for a moment before you put your hands on me to break something and then go, "Ha ha, defend yourself"?
No. But maybe that dude who played the trombone did even worse stuff than what you did. We don't know that part of the story.
I
know. I popped. It was right. And why are we in North Carolina with a New Orleans fucking jazz band? But I did pop for Taz being excited about tuba. He was very excited about the tuba, and it made me laugh, and I liked it. So, but Ricky Starks did a good job here.
Hook too, man. As soon as he came out, like every other week, I go, "Fuck." I figured him out too. You need to give Hook a bumbling gimmick. He needs to stop coming out like he's tough or a fighter, because he looks like a boy. He might be tough. Maybe he could kick Matt's ass. I don't know. But he's not. He doesn't look like a man, and he's not a fighter. Make him your fucking intern, or make him Taz's rich, bratty, fuck up son.
Sorry, I'm watching Game of Thrones. He should be a page, right? Like a page to a knight. Something along.
I've never seen the show, but if that's similar to an intern,
yeah, like of medieval times, a knight would have a fucking young boy with him and doing young boy chores. You know,
he's the one that gets beat up. He's the one that they have to save.
Yeah,
Taz yells at him. Ricky yells at him.
What do they call the motorcycle people when they're waiting to get
the around
on their vests or whatever? That kind of thing.
Patches before you get your patch and your fucking a pledge. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Make him a pledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct me, guys, if I'm wrong. That when Hook enters the scene, regardless of the scene, it looks out of place.
Yep.
I don't think so.
I think because you're right. Because the way he dressed, he comes out dressed like he's looking to be buff.
Like he's trying to be fucking,
He's got a wife beater on and tight skinny jeans and his underwear.
I wouldn't have a problem with that if you're trying to get younger chicks or even whoever's invested. If he's bait.
If you were booking the show, would you put him out there doing that?
I would but I would do it because of this. He's Taz's kid, so he should have a chip on his shoulder that people want to knock off because he thinks he's fucking entitled and over. And we got to show lessons that break him down, or him thinking that and it blows up in his face. And I think the thing to do is, if you're going to have young boy like that, then if you have the heel one, you got to have a baby face one. We can tell stories of good and bad all the way down the pecking order. I think Buddy Wayne's kid is the one to bring in, and fucking he's the same young boy. He's a page for a knight in shining armor that's fucking good. And why can't Cowboy have one? And like these smaller, really younger guys who are second generationers, one kid's really paying his dues and doing things the right way. The other kid thinks he's fucking over. Who do we want to see fall? You know, it just needs, there's a lot of opportunities there.
I'd go comedy intern with it. And I don't think Hook has even had a television match yet.
Comedy intern belongs to Dark Order and fucking, and you could have a whole wrangler of the interns too, and like a mini booker under a booker of those guys to get all that done. Yeah, dude, all that's possible and probable.
Because he hasn't even had a television match. And when he comes on the set with Ricky, Bryan, and Hobbs, he's acting as if he is on equal footing with these three men that we've seen wrestle and kick ass, and it's clearly not the case. So how can he become enduring? We have to make him lovable by making him bumbling, or by making you feel sorry for him, not upset that he's on your screen.
And you can get -1 over in that. All that,
sure.
Yeah, bro.
-1 tells him he looks like a kid.
Well, it tells him to stop thinking he's over. Like -1's got all the veteran advice, and he's only 11 years old. Like that's fucking, you know what I mean? All that kind of shit, bro. That's
All
cool.
You see Hook coming up to him backstage. Hey man, how do I get some more TV time?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on since we've only gotten through one match. There was also a video package that aired that Hiroshi Tanahashi is coming to, I guess, America, or it wasn't really coming to America. Announced that he's going to face the winner of tonight's IWGP Championship match between Lance Archer and Hikuleo. So then we had a Santana and Ortiz versus FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Hardwood. As you mentioned, Cash got cut up pretty bad on that ring post there. Hardwood had even rolled to the outside. Check on Wheeler, who was holding his bloody right arm while being treated by the medical staff, and Conan and Santana hovered over Ortiz inside the ring afterwards. But the conclusion of the match, we see Hardwood kick Santana to the nose and give Ortiz a brainbuster and pins him. So the winner of this match was FTR. Was very interested that they decided to go ahead and put FTR over here. I guess that hopefully means they're continuing this feud, but who knows now with Cash getting hurt. What did you think, Silvio?
They worked really hard, but the crowd was burnt out because they saw a bigger, better tag match. I love those both teams, so I felt bad for them. I think the actual finish, though, was supposed to be the superplex with the roll up, the small package superplex spot. And if you notice, referee Paul Turner stopped counting, and then they ended up doing another spot, and Dax wins with the brainbuster. So I have a feeling the ref was supposed to count that. And maybe it was, I'm assuming FTR was supposed to win, but maybe Dax called an audible and fucking took a brainbuster and pinned him. I don't know.
He did. I mean, I think it was supposed to be them up, but with some big time shit, but he was fucked up and they just took it home with the fucking this, that, or the other, and had to pull more time. So Conan and him were hovering over him, and they knew that, let's see if this is fucking the way it is, because maybe whatever they were going to take at the end would have been the same finish anyway.
So I hope Wheeler's okay. I want to see these guys wrestle more.
Yeah.
Following that, Tony Schiavone interviews Britt Baker and Rebel. Early in the day, Baker boasts about that she tapped out Nyla Rose despite having a broken wrist, the fact that, she's getting injured all the time and that Rebel's getting injured all the time. She says that they were holding their breath while waiting for her to fail would suffocate. And then an AEW Rampage ad aired for the August 13th premiere. Did you like the promo there, Ben, backstage with Baker?
It was all right, but we're getting a setup of, guess what? Somebody's going to have our back. And here they are. Nope, they're not coming in. You're just going to tell us that somebody is, but you don't really know who. So now I'm like, well, who is it? Is, Awesome Kong back? Well, you just battled Nyla Rose, so we can't do that story. Is it Jade Cargill because she's impressive and not ring ready? Swole. It just doesn't. There wasn't anything there. Who's a big impressive woman? I know there's the one lady who does kind of like Big Mama Thick or whatever that Jenna fights with, African American chick. I can't remember her name, but I was just trying to think who would be somebody that is impressive that's going to be an enforcer to stand there like a Samoa Joe and intimidate the women from doing something.
I expected the same thing as you. I was like, okay, where are they? Where are they coming out?
Yeah.
What I hope they do is I hope that they give Britt Baker a China. I hope it's a man, and the man is Britt's bodyguard.
Yeah. But that means we got to do man on woman violence.
Maybe.
Or man on what they tell you is a woman violence. Oh, that one got him.
Sorry. Okay, so following that, then we now start to get into the CM Punk hints. So Tony Schiavone stood on the stage and announced that AEW Rampage, the first dance, would come to Chicago's United Center on Friday, August 20th, and tickets go on sale on Monday. Then we get clearly a challenge in the next promo backstage. It's Alex Marvez is with Sting and Darby Allin. Allin mentions that the Chicago show, mentions that he will be in Chicago, and he says without enthusiasm. But then he goes on to say that there's been a lot of men who claim to be the greatest, and there's only one place to prove that, right? Right here in AEW. And then he ends the promo by saying, even if you think you are the best in the world. So it looks like here we're setting up for Darby Allin and potentially CM Punk as the first feud as Allin lays down the challenge. What do you think of this, Silvio?
I missed that part.
Oh, okay.
But I could see Punk wanting to work with Darby, and I don't blame him for that.
And do you think Punk should be working with Darby as his first match in AEW?
Yeah, baby, for sure.
Okay.
And you got Stinger in there, that's going to just draw, and it doesn't hurt either of those guys. It elevates Darby to a top level, and Punk can shake his hand and get him over afterwards with that, and you could move him right into Daniel Bryan afterwards, and he could lose to both of them and be more over than if he beat him. And then you could put them all in a three-way, and Darby wins after losing twice.
Yep.
All right,
A year later, Darby beats them both in a three-way.
They all get one win, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was your first hour. Then we moved into hour 2. After commercial break, we come back with the entrances for the IWGP Championship match. Ross said that's compelling information, shall we say, regarding the previous segment. King Haku comes out with his son. Lance Archer comes out without Jake Roberts.
Yeah.
So we get Lance Archer versus, I apologize, Hikuleo. Well, with King Haku versus the IWGP Championship, Hikuleo's Ross said that Hikuleo would own the NJPW at some point throughout the day. This match was great. Biggest thing for me, though, we got to see the Tonga and Death Grip. That was awesome. Got to see that on TV. What'd you think of the match, Ben?
I liked it a ton, man. This is how they should be using Archer. What I don't like is that there's no build to this aside from Hikuleo Wanalea dancing atop the ECW arena naked last week while he was in the audience. Yeah, I know you like that one. This guy, look at this look at that big son of a bitch. Bro, give me more than that building up to this match. This match was way too good, way too fast. And Archer going over means something when he beats Haku Meng's kid, who's also part of the fucking.
And I am the head of the table, the tribal chief.
Like that. You could, if they wanted to, they could bite off of what Roman's doing without doing it and infer that dude is there to fucking be the tribal chief of AEW. That he was sent without saying it. You can say it. Instead we just got it's Ming's kid, everybody, and fucking there's Ming, and this guy is a fucking giant of a Samoan, super impressive, and I am even more shocked that he's on AEW TV and WWE hasn't snapped that fucker up and put him right with the boys on the main roster already, just as an enforcer to get him learning and get him used to what it's like being in the main event. I can't believe this guy was even on AEW TV. They did a great job. This was probably one of my favorites. I like the opener, even though there was so much bullshit that had me cringing. But I like this segment. This was my favorite, really.
And he was coordinated too.
Yes.
For his size.
Yes. And he's got that extra length in between his knee and his foot and his shin bone, which usually makes guys uncoordinated, but not him. You could see he's got the rhythm and he's got the look. And I'm just saying to myself, how is he even on AEW TV right now?
I agree with everything Hamin just said for once in its entirety, including the part about Vince. I made that comment while watching. Unfortunately, the crowd didn't know who the fuck he was. Nor did I. I did watch last week, so I knew that he was having a match. But when I saw him, I'd never seen him before, and I don't regularly watch New Japan unless it's guys that I like. So I'd never heard of him. And in Charlotte, North Carolina, guess what? No one else did either. So it was they did a fine job, but it was a very quiet match because of the no build there, so no one had time to know who he was. And again, booking mistakes going back to the beginning of the show is. What are they supposed to do after we've seen everything like that? Archer, I think, looked cool as fuck, and this belt adds something to him. Some of the steam he lost, he's got it. So I thought the visual of Archer was great last night. The match just kind of ended up, unfortunately, being a little meaningless because we didn't know who he was and why they were fighting, and the crowd didn't really seem to care too much, unfortunately.
I think the finish was wrong. I mean, I liked Archer looking strong and going over, but you got Ming there. It's for the kid to be taking heat, does something, pulls, Archer goes through the ropes that way, and Ming gets the fucking gimmick on him, and not maybe the kid can win there, but I think the ref seeing Ming do that is enough to DQ, and then the kid gets on him and heats on him right away. You don't need the win. So Archer wins by DQ because of Ming, and that would have solidified it. That Archer going over strong is another choice. It wasn't bad. You know what I mean? And he got his beauty pose down. But if he's a baby face now, what do? Do you do empathy on a guy that big still, or do you just have him go strong like that? I think
Go strong.
Yeah.
I'd have him just be a monster.
I just had to talk it out. You know what I mean?
I have a question to both you.
I don't want heels being buried on their debut, losing clean. Like that's just hard for me. Go ahead, Matt.
My question is, how do you guys feel about him using the Bullet Club music to come out, as that being really the first iteration, if you will, of them showcasing a Bullet Club member on AEW versus saying like using Tama Tonga or, Bad Luck Fale or something with this Forbidden Door? What do you feel? How do you feel about him being the first representation?
I think the Samoans are missing out big time. I think Bullet Club's been dead. Dude, Bullet Club was over in 2014 in 2CW. That's about the only time Bullet Club was over. They fucked it up 16 ways to Sunday through WWE, and now to do it as a rehash and rebrand as the Elite is kind of passe as well. This guy, dude, the tribe is what it's about. The tribe can't be broken because they're real family, but you can have them in MLW, Japan, WWE, and AEW. The Samoan Mafia does not know how to brand their own Samoanness, and to make that, they are the new Bullet Club. They should be the ones that are getting these super marks, fucking tribal tattoos. More white kids with Samoan tribal tattoos. They could be that over if they would also make it look like there's an upper echelon between Alpha and Sika, fucking Rikishi, like that they look like a real mob family. And that the street level dudes of it's just like when Michael got made the Godfather, right? That's where Roman is right now, kind of a boy king to some degree. But he's still got old heads around him telling him what to fucking do. They're missing out big time. Bullet Club's jumped the shark.
Phil, any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Fucking think about the Click, Hamin. So you had Helmsley and Michaels on Raw throwing up the Too Sweet to Hall and Nash on Nitro. Right? So
right.
You can do the same thing. To answer your question, Maddie, what did this feel like with the Bullet Club, blah, blah, blah? This felt to me like WCW in about 1999 when you'd hear the NWO music and out comes Virgil for him.
Yeah, that's how it felt to me, Silvio. That's why I was like, I don't think he should come out to that, especially if this is probably going to be a one-off. He shouldn't be the representation of the Bullet Club on here.
Nope. To be honest, I didn't even know they were still doing it.
Yeah,
and I get it. They're putting over in the chat that they're Tongans, not Samoans. It's the tribe, bro. They're all known in that gimmick. You just tie them together like it's the Gambinos and the fucking, this family and the other. Like you just give them their own thing that way, and that makes them even stronger.
I will say, to put them over, even though they're not as large, over the last year and a half. What is it? He's a member of the same family. I think they got Contra on MLW, so they're kind of doing that. They've kind of been doing this Tongan dynasty as their champion, if you will. But that's really but they're not on a national level. So unless it's on a bigger level, you're not going to see it.
That's the Sheik too. That's my boy Almighty Sheik in there. So it's not the same just tribe thing that I'm trying to put over. Everyone's got their own little factions that seem cool and fucking. The cool kids are going to get these shirts, and that's who you're with because they get heat and they rib the business or they get their finisher over. But these Islander guys, Tongan, Samoan, they got way more money they could be cashing than what they're doing right now, and they should be going off the Click and Bullet Club model to get that shit over.
Following that, Alex Marvez, he attempts to interview Cody Rhodes, who is seated next to Jerry Lynn and Tony Khan in the gorilla position. Cody Rhodes says so much is happening in Iroh, but before he can finish, he's attacked by Malachi Black. They fight on the stage. Black gets knocked down, then gets an uppercut from the floor, but he got up, blasted Rhodes with a knee to the head. Then he stands over Rhodes, said, "Welcome to the House of Black." Several wrestlers ran out to help. Black dropped Fuego del Sol with the Black mass kick. Is it just me, or is Black's eye getting blacker by the week, Silvio?
It's getting blacker.
Getting blacker.
I love this just for the for both the violence and the ridiculousness. The setting was ridiculous, which I loved. It had Jerry Lynn with the piece of paper above him that said
Coach and EVP.
Cody with the EVP piece of paper at Gorilla. I don't know if they actually have that during taping. It'd be funny if
I gotta ask you, is that a rib, or is that how meticulously OCD and packing order they are there to be like, that's Cody's chair, EVP, that's Jerry Lynn's chair, Coach, and because people call him probably Coach, hey Coach, not because of just
I'm
that.
thinking rib. I'm leaning more towards rib. What was great about it is Cody is sitting there and he starts talking, and all you see is a foot come into the frame, drop in. They have a pretty fucking cool brawl.
Yeah.
They come out into the arena. You hear the crowd coming up after they'd been silent for the big men and silent through half of FTR's match. They're into it. And they're brawling, and poor Fuego del Sol gets kicked into next Tuesday. Alistair looks awesome. It spiked some energy back into the crowd. That's for sure.
I would agree. I think I agree with Silvio. It's got to be a rib, right? Because the only thing we've all been as far as some form of entertainment or set. Usually, if you're only going to have anything post, you might have director, TD, right? So they know where they're sitting, they know where to get to the board, but you wouldn't put their name up there like that, EVP and coach.
I don't think even Vince has that. You just know where Vince sits. Like, this is where Vince sits.
Yeah, but
I've seen some fucked up signs backstage at WWE, bro. And then
Vince's name with an arrow pointing to him.
I've seen some strange things, and I gotta go 60% to rib, 40% it could be absolutely real OCD, power play, fucking busy work. Like they're know that this is my seat, make sure nobody's sitting in it. Like
it could be real for sure. I'm not discrediting it.
I know, and that's that. But if it's a rib, I'm totally with it. If it's not, that speaks volumes about something else in my mind.
Or they knew the shot was coming and they're like, okay, what do we need to add to the set to make this look more realistic? And so somebody went to the printer and printed off 2 shitty pieces of paper with fucking
or
font.
egos are way out of control. And fucking it's not what things were proclaimed to be. But I'll leave it at that. Some say the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, the darker the eye, and the sweeter the poos. Dude, his eye's all black and shit. I don't know why. It looks like he got beat up.
Following that, we got a pre-tape promo. Miro says that no one can take his divine right. That he's a simple man, and the only things that motivate him are a vengeful God and his double-jointed wife. Miro said, "You can face him like a man, you can run away, but I like this line, but a glorious reckoning is upon you either way." I thought that was a great line. And
glorious reckoning.
Any quick thoughts there before the next match?
That's the best part of the night. Fucking Meltzer driver through a basketball hoop, double jointed wife line.
Vin, anything before we move on to the next match?
He killed it. It was good.
Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus with Marco Stunt versus Angelico, Mark Quinn, and Isaiah Cassidy of the Hardy faction. Ronnie says that he was handed a note that QT Marshall opted to wait to apologize next week about, dumping Milkshake right on Tony Schiavone. And he wants to wait till next week when Tony Schiavone's family is going to be in attendance. Excalibur also noted that Cage entered the night ranked 3rd and that he now can move up to being top ranked because Hangman Page lost. But then we get to the match itself. This was a really quick match. It was only 5 minutes. Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus beat Angelico, Mark Quinn, and Isaiah Cassidy as Cage performed a frog splash onto Quinn and then pinned him. So he didn't even hit his finisher. But
you see Deeb's new shirt?
It says I'm the best wrestler, right? Right, the best wrestler in the world.
Hell yeah. I want one of those.
I guess CM Punk is not going to get a new shirt here anytime soon.
Well, the other part of that is that she can out wrestle CM Punk every day of the fucking week.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he can fucking like it and lump it and leave it. Available now, AEWshop.com. Come on.
There you go. I might be going on there today to get one.
Also, you can go to Pro Wrestling Tees if you'd like to get some Ben Hamin shirts, or he'll cut a promo on you.
Yeah, they got new shoot promos on ProWrestlingTees.com. Just sign up for that. Same as Cameo. So whatever you guys like, Cameo.com/Ben Hamin or ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin.
Which one takes less money from the performers?
Pro
For
Wrestling Tees does. If $30 Cameo, I think I get like 22 of that, and then it's 25 from PWT.
Also, if you need someone to like put somebody in their place, really yell at them, go to Cameo and sign up on Stevie Ray. I mean, that guy will just fucking the people.
You should get him signed up though. Oh, he's not on Pro Wrestling.
He doesn't want to do Pro Wrestling Tees. Yeah.
Has Stevie Ray called you a fruit booty at all yet?
No, he's not.
That is disappointing.
Well, I'm actually excited that he hasn't. So following that, we moving on here. After that,
going to talk about the match at all?
No, I mean, if you want to talk about it, it's 5 minutes. What do you got to say?
There's a reason why we're not talking about it.
Yeah.
It's because nobody remembers really what happened, other than Christian doing the finish. And New Breed will be making regarding some regards.
So New Breed announcement today after 5 regarding some concerns that have taken place over the past couple of days, and that was in reference to Ben was talking about Deanna when Jenna was out there.
It's whatever. Like the fans will never know, so they'll never know, bro. They just
make alternate plans. I mean, no, this match was again another victim of the order of the card. Card was fine. The order in which it was placed was not. There's nothing they could do. Nothing they could do here that was gonna get a rise out of anyone. And then we had Blade, which you left out, Maddie, run out at the end inexplicably and knock out Christian with a pair of knucks. After he just did that with Orange Cassidy for 4 weeks to let Cassidy finally do it to him and win. So what are we going to get, the same feud now with Christian?
I don't know.
My favorite part of this is like Deanna when she tweeted like come on.
Boring, yeah.
Whatever. But like she at the bottom it says avoid, but she spells avoid wrong. AVIOD. Aviad. Aviad.
Read the tweet. I mean, I can't see it.
Oh, I will not be at NBE Wrestling this weekend. If you bought tickets, please ask for a refund. And any talent that try to contact them in the future, avoid.
There you go.
Well, sorry. I'm glad though that Jenna is remaking her entrance here, because we're just about to now start reviewing the women's match, Julia Hart versus Thunder Rosa. Unless you've got any other thoughts, Ben, on this Christian match before we move on.
Shouldn't add another multi-man match, and the guys who are highlighted that everybody wants to see, which are Christian and Matt Hardy, are not the highlighted ones at the end. So this was foolish to have Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy out there, because they're a special act altogether, just to do another conglomeration match after we already had a 10-man opener that nobody can follow.
All right, well, let's talk about this match. We got Julia Hart coming out with the Varsity Blondes, taking on the now officially signed Thunder Rosa to All Elite Wrestling as of this last week. So congratulations to her.
Yay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So we've got this match between Julia and Thunder Rosa. And I have a question for you, Jenna, if you can hear me. So my question is, during the match, JR noted that Julia Hart is green. So I feel like he kind of undersold her on television. Now, obviously, Silvio and you would never put Jenna in a position to ever be on television, in a position where she wasn't ready to go. And I'm sure Jenna would.
The NXT announcers would have done that for me when I was there.
Well, my question though is it detrimental though to Julia Hart to put her to say that? I mean, I know Jim Ross is just trying to cover up for the fact that she is newer. So I'm not slighting JR, but is it detrimental to make a comment like that she's green and she's being put on television like that, Jenna?
In my personal opinion, I mean, I don't like when announcers use any of, like, I guess, internal terms or what we might call each other outside of fans' ears. It's just not a term like I would use, especially if they're investing in her, which they are, and they're giving her a lot of face time if she's already on Dynamite. So it's not doing a credit to them when they're the ones picking their talent and putting them on television. So I wouldn't discredit, that's the girl that you picked, signed, or whatever, and she has a match with the hottest woman in the business right now, which is Thunder Rosa. So I don't think it's doing her any justice. I wouldn't use those terms. But really, if you're a fan, all you have to do is Google her, and there's probably not a lot on her, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know she probably is not that experienced.
So take rocket appliances.
So Silvio should have been maybe better put across. We've got Julia Hart, this brand new up and coming hot prospect wrestler that's just now making her appearances on Dynamite. Or, I mean, what is there a better way to do that? Or
Semantics aside, JR was trying to save the business.
oh, I know. I'm not slighting JR.
Yeah, I know. JR is old school, and he couldn't sit there without saying it. So the phrasing could have been, he could not have lived with himself without making that known. And I understand it. He could have said it, phrased it different. He could have said, you know, she ain't got a lot of experience. She got a lot of heart the size of Texas. Yeah.
That was good. That was good.
That's one of his
That was
lines.
really good.
Yeah, that was. I think I would have.
You did a good impersonation.
I heard you've been watching a little Master Shoot Theater yourself over there, sweetheart.
Yeah,
Laughing at me.
Vince McMahon.
Oh my God. Why you don't put that out there for the world and just on Patreon?
It is on Patreon, but
No,
the
she's
world,
not just
apparently the
on
world
Patreon.
doesn't give it all.
You need to put that everywhere, not just there. That shit's
Yeah, I'm gonna
dying.
I'm gonna try and get a hold of Adult Swim and see what we can do.
There you go.
There you go. I was like literally in tears watching that, crying.
The goddamn Bake Boys Club is also in the chat room right now.
Shout out to my sponsor, the Big Boys Club. Use the code SuckMyBallsPod. You'll save 15% off, and it's Mars. Shout out to Mars. Congratulations, him and his lady are having a child. They just did a gender.
Yeah.
reveal. So shout out to Mars, buddy.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Let's talk about the match, though. What do you think of this match, Jenna, between Thunder and Julia Hart?
You know, Thunder, I love watching her. So it doesn't matter who she's in there with. She's an entertainer and she knows how to kind of get herself out there and the fans love her. So she's just a pro and she can go in there with anyone, even with someone who's green, as JR put it, and make her look like she knows what she's doing. So
What did you think of the overall performance, Thunder Rosa in general?
no, I mean, I think she's great. All of her shit's solid and looks good. There was no botches or anything crazy. I just didn't like their placement on the card, and I don't think they're doing their women's division justice following all of that and giving Thunder. I know she wanted to be put over like for her first debut match as a signed AEW talent to over Strong, but I think there were other ways that could have probably been a little bit better. But I have my own feelings on what they're doing for the women there. But hopefully with Thunder there now, she could lead the charge because she knows what she's doing with all of us on the roster at Mission Pro, and they're taking it on the road. It's doing that well. So I'm hoping it gets better for the women's division there, and she has a voice on kind of because it's working for her and her company. So
Still, they've got Thunder and Deeb there. Is there any excuses now why these matches going forward or the next couple months should not start to get better when you got two top talented females there and one of the best wrestler in the world and probably one of the best female coaches in the world there?
So I've got a loaded gun here, so I'm going to give Hamin the opportunity to talk about this match first.
Okay, go ahead, Ben.
I thought they did a good job of getting her over in a little pre-tape beforehand with the brothers there behind her doing the Julia, yay, and they're just doing the little gimmick.
You didn't think that was black? It came across.
It was supposed to be. It does, yeah, it is. They're super blonde, and they needed a little something to get her over before she's about to go get eaten up. I mean, what else is she except a cheerleader? Let's make it simple. This isn't got to be. Fuck, we already had the 10-man. We already had the this, that, or the other. They could have put her as a cheerleader thing for the stuff in the beginning to some degree if they wanted to incorporate all them into that. But
that's what I said too.
Yeah, there's if you're going to do basketball and you got a cheerleader, why wouldn't you do something to set it off where she blows the whistle and does one stunt and goes, "Welcome to Dynamite" or whatever, and the shit goes off and they go.
More over than this match.
What do I know? I'm not Booker of the Year.
Booker of the month.
And the one thing that I see that obviously both these girls have sex appeal to them. I try not to hit on girls that I could be their father now that are that young. But one thing they're doing that they started redoing this a little bit at WWE, sexy pins. They're going to find the crotch shot. And they're going to find the ass cheeks, and they're gonna play to the tape trader masturbators who can never get a hot little blonde like that, who have social awkwardness, and they're gonna feed their sexual desires for a panty peek. And they've done it on multiple matches in the last month. Me as a heterosexual male, I'm down with it. but I'm going to point it out as a pundit to be like, they want to play a little more sexy and show camel toe. There's some girls that'll be borderline strippers and hot and will get over more and quicker by using their sexuality, as opposed to those who where the company's MO is some Me Too movement shit. So what are we doing? Showing fucking Sweet Morning Dew and fucking camel toe, or are we empowering the women? Don't see the show, don't tell of it to me. Seems like the other way around.
And you've got a point. Jenna and I've talked about this when we're watching matches online, like some of the Title Match Network and some of the women's matches. The thumbnails are very telling. So Jenna and I sometimes will talk about that, where you'll have one really good match, like this is a great match to watch, and
like one of my matches, the best match probably in my career with Holodead. Amazing, right? Match of my career.
What did the thumbnail look like?
The thumbnail was like, her doing a dive on me and me probably like a choke slam. No booty shots, none of like the sex appeal. And it has, not a lot of views versus
40,000 ish.
And then you have ones with a little cheek action or something. It'll be like 500,000 views. So the thumbnails are telling. And I'm not going to get over with my sex appeal. I'm a scary robot. That's not me. You know what I mean, in the ring at all. So I'd rather get over that. And you're
getting over with that, but you have the other. I'm not saying you need to do that by any means, and you can stick to character, and sex robots are the future too. That's just the way things are going to be. But everybody likes, whether they like it or not. There's no sex in your violence. Bullshit. The wrestle fuck fetish stuff makes money. Yeah. People we trained with and came up with still do it, and workers are going to work, whether it's Seth Rollins being the apartment boner underwear champion doing that shit, or if it's April Hunter still doing it with Jen Thomas. They make their money. There's a market for it, and it's sprinkled in here, but they're not going to put it over and say it that way, but they're going to show it that way for their core audience, which is socially awkward, dysfunctional males who still are addicted to pornography. Here's your little taste of it.
All right, to switch gears a little bit here. Would you guys agree quickly that this was a super show, kind of, for the most part?
Yes.
Plus, Jenna's dropping elbows in the bedroom and shit. She's into all that weird shit.
That shouldn't have been on the show.
Last night we had a super show. We had a 10-man. I'll pop for your joke later. I mean, we had a 10-man extravaganza, basketball hoops. We had a fucking death match, probably the first death match on live TV to close it. The women of AEW get a combined one segment. You get a Britt Baker promo earlier, and you get Thunder Rosa's match. Total them up, Maddie. You're the numbers guy. Probably somewhere around 5 minutes.
4 minutes for the Julia Hart Thunder Rosa match. So yeah, about 5-6 minutes with the promo. You're probably right.
So that's one segment, no commercial breaks. Okay. You're telling me that this was the best you could put out there on your super show, Fight for the Fallen, Julia Hart? No offense to Julia Hart. She's a sweet young lady. Maybe she works hard. I don't know her. But I know she's been wrestling for about a year, and she is so green that the most experienced announcer in the business has to come out and say it to protect the brand. Yet we put Thunder Rosa, one of, if not the hottest commodity in women's wrestling right now, on this giant show in front of a huge sold-out crowd in Charlotte, North Carolina. We put her with Julia Hart, this girl. I got no problems with Julia. I don't know how she got there and why. Maybe she just got a great attitude. She may have potential. Fuck it. But why we couldn't have had a big match in that scenario? I'm going to say throw Serena's name out first, but insert any other woman that could fucking work. Put her in there with fucking Thunder Rosa.
It's Serena versus Thunder Rosa to a time limit draw. That's what it is.
Let them have a banger.
Yeah.
This is another example.
The boy and fucking that whole shit to follow a 10-man. It was those two women's match to go 20 minutes in between, and the crowd going 5 more, but we can't give it to them. We'll give it to you next week.
The Atlanta Thrasher in the chat room, Abaddon. Why couldn't we have gotten Abaddon?
I would have much rather seen Abaddon.
She's at least more experienced these days. You know what I mean? And working hard. And
Abaddon needs to be with Aleister Black as like his little sidekick witch that sees the future or whatever.
This is another example of the inclusive company and the blah, 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 and everybody's great, everybody's equal, yet again relegating the women to a single segment, the shortest match, shortest segment of the show, and not even give you a competitive match. Again, I get on here and I bitch about this every week, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. What are you doing? Fucking shame on you guys. Shame on you.
Shame on them, because everyone else is getting behind women.
And
NWA, you have Ring of Honor with their whole women's thing, and hot indie promotions that are women based, and then NXT is the best women's roster. It's not a secret. You know what I mean? But for everyone else to be behind women, and then they give us this,
And they got two of the very best
disappointed.
in the world.
I'm disappointed, because I know a lot of the women there, and I want to see them highlight. I want to see them do well. And for this little segment, it pisses me off.
And then there's 3 or 4 of them that shouldn't be there. I'm not saying because of their greenness or whatever it is, but because they're buddy hires from Japan and they're not connecting at all. They don't know how to connect. So now they have to learn on the road, no matter how long they've been there.
To end this to follow up and end this conversation, though, Silvio, I have a question for you, being the coach that you are and whatnot. By putting Julia Hart in the ring with Thunder Rosa, is it a detriment to Thunder Rosa? Because I thought some of the moves that Thunder was trying to pull off didn't even look as well. Like the ankle pick she kept trying to go back for, it looked really sloppy. But I don't think that's necessarily a representation of Thunder. I think that's more Julia not knowing how to get in position. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes, Julia Hart had no business being in that spot. No offense to her, she just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought.
She didn't do bad. Julia did good last night, and she did the best she could.
She's a valet. She's not the mighty Molly yet to get in there. She's the cheerleader.
Cherry from Deuce and Domino.
Cherry's Deuce and Domino. You're 100% right. She can train.
Special Price, who gets beat every week on Dark, whatever, Elevate, whatever the hell. Every
and even in that fact of what that should be, is somebody's bullying her until she finally gets drawn into the match, not just placed into a match, you know what I mean, at a disadvantage. And then the guys help her to win, and she hits some shit and gets one victory, and then she's back to that. But like, no, none of this was done correctly, and it's dismaying. And is it because Omega is too busy putting together all the upfront stuff? Is it because, I don't know, I thought Dustin was taking over with the girls? You got Serena there to help coach them. Why and how is this the booking decision? It just doesn't.
I just don't know what they're doing. There's no real storylines and connecting with the audience and telling who these women are. You have people on the roster that are just sitting there, like Layla Hirsch and a lot of other girls that are like still like they've only had a little time and just one-off matches, but really there's no storylines outside of the Britt Baker. And
is it because her dues are
justice for the women's division?
Her dues check just cleared at Nightmare Factory. Is she good at power washing? Are these the factors that got her onto TV?
No idea.
All right, well, let's finish up here. We got one match remaining. We did have a rundown here. They ran down next week's card as we're going to see in Homecoming Malachi.
Hi, sorry, I have to go back to work, but so good to see you and chat wrestling. My favorite thing to do. So
how do they watch you this weekend?
Title Match Network, or if you happen to be in Conroe, Texas, come on down to Mission Pro. So if not, every Tuesdays on Fight Television.
605.
You guys are the best. Thanks for the continued support. I love everybody.
Always.
All right, so we get a rundown of next week's card. It's going to be in Jacksonville. We're going to see, I apologize, Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes, Miro versus Lee Johnson for the TNT title, The Bunny versus Layla Hirsch in an eliminator match with the winner getting an NWA women's title shot, and Christian Cage versus The Blade. Then we get Ross hyping up the Jericho Cage main event. We cut to Mox. He cuts a promo as Ross says, let's go to a guy who knows both these guys well. He says the last time people saw him, he was in a barbed wire hell. So that's okay. It's not what he was there to talk about. Vented about seeing.
Is Blade with Matt now and Butcher's just gone?
We don't know. We haven't really gotten an explanation on where Blade is. So he was in a barbed wire hell. He says that's okay. It's not what he's there to talk about. He vented about seeing the French and Croatian water polo teams that got in Japan. Why he can't. He says the moment that he doesn't have the title, Tanahashi shows up in Dynamite with the stupid little ponytail. Says, screw you. Says Tanahashi doesn't get to wrestle him. The forbidden door might be open, but ain't nothing good waiting for you on the other side. I didn't mind the promo. I just thought it was weird that how it was set up, because JR goes, well, now we're going to go over to a man who knows Nick Gage and Chris Jericho pretty well. And I thought he was going to talk about this match, maybe to hype it up. And then we didn't get nothing. So it just kind of felt like it went right before the match started. I don't know. What did you think, Silvio?
I love the promo, but they didn't give JR anything in his notes probably that said the content of what Moxley was going to say.
True. I mean, the promo wasn't bad. Yeah, I thought it was a weird placement. That's all. Ben, did you have any final thoughts on this promo before the main event?
Popped huge that he buried Croatian, Romanian fucking water polo team, saying they can get in. He can't get in. What the fuck? I think that's a big, huge political statement. Done the right way, in a smart way.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was very smart to me. Good for him.
All right, well, let's go to the main event. So Nick Gage in the last week has been in 2 death matches. One against Matt Cardona, aka Zack Ryder, and now against Chris Jericho. And this was the span over the last week, because I watched the Nick Gage Matt Cardona death match on the weekend. I gotta say, between the 2, this one was better, between Chris Jericho and Nick Gage. Granted, Chris Jericho is amazing in the ring, but what I liked about this match versus the match we saw on the weekend was the focus was on Nick Gage and Chris Jericho the whole time, and it ended with them. Whereas the match over the weekend, about 3/4 to the match, you had some guys come out that were part of GCW interfering, and as a person who had never watched that show, I'm going, who the fuck are these people? So, like, I really liked that they stayed focused, that there wasn't any interference by the Pinnacle, by the Inner Circle on Jericho's side. We didn't get anybody trying to interfere on Nick Gage's side. It was just straight up between these 2 guys. And these 2 guys went at it. I mean, we saw light tubes, we saw glass, we saw Jericho left in a bloody mess. But ultimately, in the end, Jericho hits the Judas Effect elbow and scores the pin after Gage goes to grab two sets of 4 light tubes. Jericho sprays miss in the eyes of Gage, then slams one of the light tubes over his head after being slammed with light tubes over his head, stabbed. It was a death match, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. What'd you think, Silvio? Jericho wins, by the way, if you didn't get that.
I have mixed feelings about this match. I'll give the good parts. I'll get those out of the way. Nick Gage looked incredibly comfortable on a large stage, main eventing live television, which is very difficult. So I have to give him credit for that. They did some crazy shit, but it didn't look like they did anything that hurt the other guy. What I just kept going back to in this is, one, I'm not a fan of light tubes. Number one, they don't hurt. And some people probably know that, but the things they have inside of them is what can cause internal injury, like mercury poisoning, shit like that. And the shards after it breaks can also cause injury and stuff like that. And we had the pizza cutting. So the visual of the pizza cutting, I didn't want to see. So once he got it, I turned away. So I didn't look to see if he was actually gigging him with it or if it was completely soft. I don't know. But I do know somebody that was watching that, and that's going to be TNT. Years ago, Terry Funk got fired for putting a plastic bag over Dusty Rhodes' face, or Ric Flair's face, on TBS TV. And that was too much. In the 90s, as NWO was getting over, and then we saw their steep decline, TNT set up standards and practices that monitored every single script that came out of WCW all the way until Hamin's boy Russo came in, and they specifically said, you do not do this, 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 and this thing. So I think that match last night opened them up to a world of possibilities of them being censored, monitored, told what not to do. I don't think having a pizza cutter on your head is the right visual right now to have on your brand, maybe on a pay-per-view, but I don't think so on live network television. And I think TNT is going to have something to say about it, and it might get hairier from here.
I agree, and I disagree with you. I agree that there's going to be probably some backlash, especially from AEW fans, and I agree that TNT probably will somebody's going to say something and they'll have to adjust. However, I will say somebody must have told Master Control during the main event, Nick Gage is probably going to pull out a pizza cutter. And when he does, we're going to cut to this Domino's commercial. Because that's the only way, like for Master, like I popped huge for that as a Master Control operator. Somebody runs commercial breaks. I know they got a format sheet, and I know when they're told to go to commercials or when they're going to do that picture in picture, because we get that on our formats for like SmackDown and stuff like that too. So like I know that he was told that. Now they didn't know when the pizza cutter was going to come, so I got to give shout out to Master, who probably pulled that audible really quick, drag and dropped, and then pulled the Domino's commercial up really to play that next. So I know that they
saw it though. Jericho went down in the cell, and then they cut.
Right. I'm just saying that they had to have known that pizza cutter spot was going to be coming to put that Domino's ad right there, because from a marketing and money standpoint, it just made sense.
It showed they were cognizant that they probably shouldn't be doing it.
Well, or that they knew it was coming and they were like, how can we make money off
So
it?
if they're cool with it,
I would have to say they would have had to have been cool with it to align that ad placement with it, right? I mean,
does that apply to Vicky Guerrero last week and a couple weeks ago in that rotten tag where they cut to break as soon as she got to the tag? Is that good ad space?
Yeah, right. Because then you don't have to watch Vicky Guerrero in the ring.
They knew it was dicey and they took a chance.
No, like I said, there's no way they knew that was coming. They probably had a format and said during the main event, if you see Nick Gage pop out with that cutter and we go to pizza, Master Control, drag up that Domino's commercial. You know what I mean? That's what I would. That's the type of directions I would be given as a Master Control operator. So shout out to the Master Control operator for making that move on the fly. But Ben, did you have any thoughts on the main event before Silvio continues? I know Silvio probably has some more.
Jericho had balls. That's the last thing I'm going to say, and worked hard. Go ahead, Hamin.
Yeah. Why is he even taking this match against this guy? It's a buddy favor. It's a buddy favor from Moxley and from them marking out from dark side of the ring from a guy who, when I watched his Chris Van Vliet interview, I was impressed at his articulation and his passion and drive. But when I look at that, and maybe it's just the character, and he's working me with the rotten tooth and the scumbag and the no body, I go, how's it? And the felony for robbing banks, and we got another guy getting DUIs, getting made champion. How are these guys getting spots? How? Why are they representing us? Why is this the standard? When it's so, if your parents were walking in, you wanted new followers, and your 12-year-old kid's watching a guy get carved up with a pizza cutter, guess what mom's going to do? So this is some
show anymore.
Straight up most minority of wrestling who likes blood porn fetish to feed them, and for them marking out because of dark side of the ring and a Chris Van Vliet interview. And then even in the psychology of this, why does Jericho need this? This whole thing is backwards. It's for MJF to have his blood spilled and show that he's paying his dues in this fucking wrestling business and going through all the hardships. Jericho's done all of that, from Japan to ECW to WCW to the Millennium Man to the List. It's not for him to jump through any fiery hoop. He's the one who sets up the fiery hoop for the young boys. Jericho, his character should be going, fuck that. Why would I do any of this shit? I'm way more over than you. My name will echo through the annals of history for the next 200 years in this business, and you're the one who's got to do the proving. So the story's backwards. So all I really wanted to do is go, I never want to do a death match, but if I had to with Nick Gage, my whole story would be to pull out his shitty rotten tooth with a pair of pliers by the end of the match. That's how I'd work it.
I want to follow up. Again, this was not the spot for Nick Gage. They should have brought him in with Kingston and Mox versus the Elite. That should have been the spot for him right after Dark Side of the Ring. Second thing,
shouldn't even have a spot.
I know, but if you're going to do it, that would have been the spot. I think you would to play off of it, and they're friends, and that would have made more sense. Silvio, though, would it have made more sense if before the match TNT had put up a viewer discretion advised? Like, would that have been better? Because I know I see somebody in the chat room says, yeah, I've got kids too. I don't want them watching that. So would that have been better to at least advise, hey, this is going to be barbaric. Probably put your kids away for this.
It would have been better than nothing. Yeah. But I guarantee you the suits at fucking TNT had no idea something like that was going to happen.
They didn't even know wrestling was on their fucking channel 12 years ago, let alone, or 15 years ago, let alone this.
And you got to think too, they also put a guy in the main event that is not a household name and that is not under contract. That's an interesting choice. To his credit, though, the crowd was with him, and I believe we even had some chants for him in North Carolina. So I'll give him props for that.
Also,
it was just a crazy call, man.
Did you see the sign of the guy in the front though that said MDK sold out? I thought that was an awesome sign that some fan came back at him for doing that.
I think this was Jericho's idea too, by the way. Once I saw him let Gage pile drive him, I go, fucking Jericho wanted this match. In the Jericho that I know, years ago when he did the tack spot.
It's a midlife crisis, bro.
Remember when he did the tack spot several years ago for the first time? Jericho knows he's on his way out. This is his last hoorah. And he's like, I never had a death match before.
Yeah,
Nick Gage, I guarantee he booked that match.
Yeah, Atlanta Thrasher pointed this out again. With Wheeler and Grayson getting hurt previously, it was rough following those up with the flesh carving.
Yeah,
so.
and you got fucking Britt Baker hurt. So there's your top tag, your top women, and your fucking legend champ. You're going to risk it again to do that kind of shit. It's just asinine, bro. But it won't matter because they're going to hire more WWE guys and it'll just become something that it's not right now, regardless.
As soon as the match ends, MJF stands on the stage and announces that Jericho's labor number 3 stipulation was that you are going to have to hit a top rope move in order to win. And MJF says he's been known to hold a grudge and then told the broadcast team to roll the tape. And the footage airs of Jericho telling a joke earlier last year about Juventud Guerrero, followed by MJF wondering who that was. And Jericho tells him to Google it. So we go back live and MJF says, I did Google it. And then next week, Chris Jericho will take on one of his longtime bitter rivals for the first time on TNT in 15, 20 years, whatever it was. Juventud Guerrero will be making his return to take on Chris Jericho. And that's how the episode goes off the air. So before you give your thoughts, a couple things I want to say. The production on this match pissed me off so much. When Jericho came out at the beginning of the match, they kept cutting away from him in his Painmaker outfit. I was just like, hold the shot for 5 seconds. And then at the end, and I know I know what you're saying. So now that we've had this conversation, I could see maybe why they were trying to cut away from a bloody Chris Jericho, because they didn't want that image on the screen too long. But as someone who watched the death match, I went, give me 5 seconds give me the emotion. Like Jericho had his head on the turnbuckle when he was being announced to Juventud Guerrero, and they kept cutting back and forth too fast. I was like, can you just give me a couple more seconds of that emotion I was hoping to get? But based on what you said, that probably makes more sense. They didn't want to have a bloody face Jericho on there. But what do you think about Jericho taking on Juventud next week? The juice is loose, Silvio.
I love Juvi, so I'm gonna like watching this match. It's just a little backwards though. Like I feel like stuff's supposed to get harder. Like he has to have this death match, and then MJF says, "Now you got to jump off the top rope."
Right, he just did a superplex or Hurricane or whatever it was to
fuck out of here. Just say you get to fight one of your most arch nemesis of all time, Juvi. Ooh, great! I can see Juvi and Jericho. Fucking whack.
Any last thoughts?
Jump off the top.
Well, the hardest part will be if Juvi ruins it with backstage politics and the match gets canceled. That's what needs to be overcome in order to, if we get to that point, then we've already won the test. Yeah, the juice, man. What are you gonna do? It's nice to be in the Conan clique. You know, that's their boys, that's their fun, and we do buddy favors. That's what they do. I just wish my buddies would do me some favors. But yeah, man. Big opener, closer that's stomach churning, guys being rewarded for being shitbags in life. I'm not really down with that, but I'm not Booker of the Year. So, you know, another show with a lot of misses and a lot of people not catching people and taking chances they don't need to, and it ending up badly, whether it's cut to the artery or cut with a pizza cutter, or fucking somebody's wrist is broke for fighting with a man dressed as a woman, or whatever it is, you know, over and over again. All these little things that seem like good video game ideas have real world repercussions.
Well, I think it was a spectacle of a show. All things said and done, spectacle of a show. And if you're a wrestling fan of AEW in particular, I'm sure you probably thought you got your money's worth, and it was a pretty wild show.
Yeah. Also, I mean, whether you like the show or not, shout out to AEW donated $100,000 to domestic abuse survivors. That was the point of the Fight for the Fallen show last night. So the local Charlotte area. So shout out to that because that's awesome. And then also, I think they've got another thing, right? Another promotion. It's in Jacksonville. If you make a donation to something, you get tickets for the show for $20. So they're doing So they're doing a good job integrating as far as some charity functions to promote people to come out. So shout out to AEW for definitely doing that. But that's your show, guys. That's going to do it for another edition of AEW, Like the Fuse Dynamite. I'm your host on the scene where the air is clean. Lighten up that green. Yeah, boy. MSG. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. Each and every week, I'll help produce the New Force Order podcast, which is out right now, or will be. Actually, I have to upload it and hit submit. So that'll be up here as soon as I get done here in the next 20 minutes. Go to Hamin Media Group on your podcast, our second feed for all the affiliate feeds. Just type in Hamin Media Group. You'll see the New Force Order up there. Also, you'll see my show. Suck my balls. My balls, Suck My Balls, a South Park review. We're up to episode 85. That's up right now on all affiliate outlets, as well as on YouTube. Our buddy Darren Robinson, who also does the music engineering for patreon.com/StevieRayTV, joined me. So come check that out, as well as subscribe to patreon.com/StevieRayTV or twitch.tv/StevieRayTV. Or if you don't want to subscribe or you're broke, you can just go to youtube.com/StevieRayTV and watch all the free clips and stuff that I put out there. And don't forget to also check out every week on patreon.com/RussoTWC.
Yeah, I said a hip, a hop, a hippie to the hip, a hip, hip, a hop, you don't stop. Rock it to the bang, bang, deucey, set up, jump the boogie, the rhythm of the boogity boom, yeah. And now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the deuce, and the ace, we're going to try to make you move your feet, pal. Yeah! Say hello. Yeah, to the black, to the white, to the red, and the brown. The pepper bellies below. Yeah, come on in, pal. I'm on a hot goddamn tear right now.
What was the pepper?
Patreon.com/RussoTWC. You can hear a young writer there, Stevie Richards, Bruce Pritchard played by Vince Russo, and of course, Vince McMahon here by our own Ben Hamin. Silvio, what's going on in your world, bud?
Yes, and I am Chris Silvio, and please do not follow me. Seriously, if I turn around and see you behind me, I'm going to call police immediately. However, you can follow Genocide via Title Match Wrestling Network this Saturday for Mission Pro Wrestling. Otherwise, I'm going to be here doing my thing. You guys know what the fuck I do. I coach wrestling, and I talk about wrestling, and I hang out with the human cyborg. That's all you need to know.
Frank, I live in Colorado. We legalized weed. I have nothing to worry about. Go ahead, Ben.
Y'all, man. I will be at Immortal Championship Wrestling in Rome, New York on Saturday with my man GGP and Blaze Haram. So we're ready to tear it down, heels over strong. We'll see about Sunday in Messina at New Breed with a big announcement later tonight addressing all of your questions, if that show's going down or not. Welcome to the Indies. You can go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin, Cameo.com/Ben Hamin, cut the promos, get the shirts, whatever you guys want to do to get down. I'm ready to go. And we're just producing new shows, getting things lined up for Realm Brand, and appreciate it with all the heat that the SJWs want to throw that way. It's free promotion. You know, it's all about free speech, independent media, and pushing back against authoritarianism. And that's what I do better than anybody else. So
yeah.
we're gonna blow it all up here, man, and we'll see if there's merch money to be made this weekend. $5 face slaps back on the road as we get ready to light the fuse. Yeah,
we need Silvio's catchphrase. He needs it every week. You want to hit the board, ding dong.
Oh, we gotta fucking get one on the way out because there's nobody better than
ding dong. Hello.
El Sexico. Good to see you guys. MSG, Chris Silvio, twitch.tv/Hamin Media, Ben Hamin. Y'all.